Welcome, my friends. Welcome to the outer fringes of reality, where fact meets speculation, where paranoia meets illumination, where madness overlaps the fragile membrane of sanity. Do not be afraid. Open your eyes and open your minds to that region that lies beyond the realm of the known, that region we call the ExoZone. I am your host, Dictor Van Dooomcock, the future ruler of Earth, and with me is my co-host and aficionado of all things fringe, the Nerdrotic channel's Gary Beekler. Gary, welcome back, and how are you this late, dark, and sinister night?
I am feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty happy to talk about this stuff. We both ran a couple of polls on our Twitter, and overwhelmingly, people thought this should be subject matter we talk about when it's dark outside. For a lot of us here, I know there's some people in Australia. It's probably daytime right now, but listen, the Earth isn't flat. It's not flat. You hear that, Mama Susan? We agree with some stuff. So, we have got a lot to catch up on, my friend. It's been a long time since we did an episode. I think we did a mini one at the end of an Inquisition. And we have to start with the Tic Tac stuff. That's the biggest news that nobody cared about, that the government came out and said, yeah, we got some stuff that is not from this planet.
That is absolutely bizarre. An off-world colony, the chance to begin again in a golden land of opportunity, and NASA's got it. Or some dark Pentagon goon subplot, organization has it. And that basically tells you all you need to know. All the swamp gas, all the little green men, all the, well, the truth is out there. No, the truth is right here, dummies. It always was here. You didn't listen to us then, but now you're trying to pretend like it's no big deal because of the beer bug and because of elections and all this other crap. Meanwhile, they just told us news that should be earth-shattering, and people are just like, oh, yeah, that's right. They were real, weren't they? Good God. Talk about, it's just, it blows my mind, Gary, that this incredibly important piece of information, this confession that we are not alone in the universe, and people are just kind of like, what does that do for the price of peas in Peoria? Well, I guess we may find out.
Yeah. There's still people who deny the TikTok Tic Tac stuff. TikTok. No, not TikTok.
I deny the TikTok stuff every chance I get.
I do, but Scott at Sporking News is huge on TikTok, so he'll tell you that all the time. Yeah. So with the Tic Tac, it defied the laws of physics. It defied the laws of physics. And well, by the way, we'll get to the laws of physics in a little bit because those laws might be a changing pretty time.
Yeah.
But as we know how things work somewhat, this thing breaks all that. It went from the surface of the ocean to the sky in 3/4 of a second with no sonic boom. It said the trained observers that we have, that we spend a lot of money on, and the best of the best were flying around that day. And there are guys I find pretty convincing. I don't think they would go out and just start BSing. And these are the ones I listened to. And they said this thing there's no way we have, or anybody on Earth has anything that behaves like this. And it goes further. Remember, this is only the information that they have given us. We're supposed to get more, and they're supposed to brief Congress. I'm guessing they're going to brief Congress after the election. I was kind of expecting, because this news came in late July, I believe. Here, let me pull up the article. I got the article ready.
Oh, you have researched. You are on it.
Yeah, I did a little research. I've got like 9 articles. There it is right there. No longer in the shadows, Pentagon's UFO unit will make some findings public. Okay, but I'm still waiting for it. But for over a decade, the program, now tucked inside the Office of Naval Intelligence, has discussed mysterious events in classified briefings, despite Pentagon statements that it disband a once covert program to investigate unidentified flying objects. The effort remains underway, renamed and tucked inside an Office of Naval Intelligence, where officials continue to study mystifying encounters between military pilots and unidentified aerial vehicles. Now, this had been happening so much, folks, that they had to finally come out and say something. We have heard 2 reports, and that's because we have video evidence, but there is hundreds, thousands of reports over the last 50 years of pilots seeing stuff. We're talking pilots of all kind, professional or military and professional. And, if you have a pilot friend, I'm sure they have a story. I had my ex-father-in-law was a pilot. He had a few stories, and they never reported it because they wanted to keep their job. That was the way things were. And we're destigmatizing this a bit. The thing is, though, I was listening to Jimmy Church last night. I haven't listened to Jimmy Church in a long time, but I was listening to Fade to Black Radio, and he had a caller ask, and they were talking about Linda Moulton Howe and David Wilcock and Stephen Greer and their opposing views on aliens. Like Stephen Greer thinks the aliens are all kumbaya and they're here to help us. David Wilcock doesn't think so. Neither does Linda Moulton Howe. I don't know what to believe. I think at this point, I just don't think they care. I think they're here doing their thing, and we're an anthill. I don't know, but I have no evidence. I've just always believed this since I was a kid. I just think it's incredible. It'd be impossible for the universe to be this big, the galaxy to be this big. And we're going to get to an article about what they're finding out about the universe now, because guess what? They mapped it and went, oh, everything we might have known is wrong. And, it's just, I don't think there isn't, I think there's intelligent life out there. I do. And I think they've managed to find us, and they're probably so far advanced that they probably don't give a crap right now. It would be way too much of a problem to handle. So it's like, well, they got these oceans we can just hide in for a while, and they see us once in a while. So what? Who cares? Half of them aren't going to believe it anyway.
Right.
And they still talk with their mouths. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, right. Like in that X-Files with Mulder and the Mengele effect, where he's like thinking thoughts at them. But I gotta say, man, this is earth-shattering.
Yeah,
this is absolutely earth-shattering. And the fact that they can go from sea level up to space and basically not have any sonic boom in a second or so is fascinating. The thing about a sonic boom is it compresses. It basically like leaves a gap in the air, and then the air basically it's compressing against the object, and then it reaches a point of compression where it just collapses. It's basically causing a disruption in the homogeneity of the atmosphere. Yeah. But if these things, it just occurred to me, like if these things are manipulating gravity, flying around with gravity, then what may happen is that the air is actually sucked around the form, and there is no gap. Yep. There is no compression, there is no gap, because it's its own gravitational field, and that's why it's not having compression effects. Makes a little sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's got to, because it happened.
Right.
It happened. It's not like we're theorizing on somebody, seeing, it's like a lot of the UFO stuff is anecdotal evidence. If that, it's just hearsay. We're going off of, but we've had things in the past that are legit, that I believe are. I believe Travis Walton is legit. I think he is like the most legit guy. That guy got taken on board something. He disappeared for a long period of time, showed up naked in another part of town. His friends saw him levitate off the ground, multiple witnesses, and now we have to start thinking about this stuff. So we got Stephen Greer out there going, oh, they're all kumbaya. Well, Travis Walton tells a different story. And, that's the problem. And we'll get into that. We'll get into the problem with ufology. I've talked about it before, and I think ufology needs new blood, whoever it may be. it needs a next wave of people, because I think the people who are in it right now are pretty useless at this point, other than Richard Dolan and a couple of other names. They've all gone on to Guruville, or our next wave of ufologists all wanted to be on reality TV. So they all grabbed a bunch of Canon 7Ds or whatever the hell they're and, got their cars and put some graphics on the side, started a YouTube channel, and became UFO hunters 3.5 and 4.0. And so what? You're just running. I do that. I did that last night. As a matter of fact, I have my telescope. My wife got me a telescope for my birthday, and I was just chilling in my backyard because I can see stars again for the first time in my life.
Nice. Yeah.
You can't see stars in San Francisco. I just chilled, listened to some Vangelis, and freaking watch the stars. But it's useless. We need people gathering information. We need another Art. I mean, God, we miss Art Bell. And I don't think anybody has ever can take his place. And it's that one place where we all went. I emailed Gil last night, because I'm like, where's your go-to place for finding UFO stuff now? I mean, like, there's a bunch of websites out there, but none of them are really good anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like it's just fallen off, and at the worst time possible. At the worst. And you guys might have somebody out there who you like and stuff, but it's like we need an Art Bell. We need at least 4 or 5 people who are legit. We lost Stanton Freeman, right?
Yeah.
Right now, to me, Richard Dolan is it pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else has gone political, and it hurts because nobody's, the government's only going to tell us what they want to tell us. We need somebody out there who is a lightning rod for this stuff, people will send their information, and of course that person will have to sift through all the BS they're going to get. But we miss Tyler. Whatever happened to Tyler at Secure Team? Don't know what happened to the dude. It looks like he had some demons, some personal problems, but at least he was the place people were sending all their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we need something like that. YouTube also, I think YouTube demonetized his channel or something. I'm not 100%
really
about that, but yeah, I mean, why else would you stop? They must have done something.
Yeah.
Or he just again had demons, and I know what that's like. They can take over your life. But that being said, we haven't had somebody replace Tyler. Yeah, there's Third Phase of Please. Those guys are sorry. They're clowns. But there's only I don't mind you throwing up almost everything and analyzing it and stuff, but we need some serious research, because this could be a problem. We need to think about it as a potential problem. That's what the government's doing right now. Hopefully it's not. It hasn't been so far, and I figure if they can get this far, they could probably wipe us out at the blink of an eye. But I can't assume that. I don't think anybody else.
No, that's true. Yeah.
And I think it's
I think
conversation.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And I think all they'd have to do is just bioengineer some kind of horrible thing and just let it loose, and, come back in 6 months and be done with it. I mean, they're not going to come down with ray guns and, it's not going to happen that way.
No,
I don't think.
Or they could just start a conspiracy, feed it to the news, and wait 6 months.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Uh-oh. I think we're already there.
Yeah.
We're in the twilight zone of suck. But
maybe the aliens are infiltrating Facebook groups. that's the new narrative right now. Yeah.
I think that they're dressing up like Bigfoot to discredit squatchers.
Right?
I think that they're dressing up.
I just rookied it. Why did I do that?
I don't know. Maybe I jarred you so much with that idea that squatching is gonna go the wayside of no, you don't think so?
No, because every time we go, Bigfoot's not real, then there's like 10 Bigfoot sightings, and people are seeing something. They've been seeing it since, we've had people here who could write and give their before that, even who could pass on a story. It goes way, way back. So yeah, I don't know on that one. It's a solid I don't know. I would love for Bigfoot to be real. I would. Just
I hope so.
weird.
Well, there's more evidence than for Nessie. Nessie's gone.
Yeah, Nessie's gone.
We've lost Nessie.
All right, so Pentagon officials will not discuss the program, which is not classified, but deals with classified matters. Okay, so the program's not classified. So we'll tell you have a program. We're not going to tell you what the program is doing, but it's
because it's classified.
Because it's classified. Yeah. Yet it appeared last month in a Senate committee report outlining spending on nation's intelligence agencies for the coming year. The report said the program, the Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force, was to standardize collection and reporting on sightings of unexplained aerial vehicles and was to report at least one of its findings to the public within 180 days after the passage of the Intelligence Authorization Act. They are authorizing intelligence in the government. That's good. Thank you. I'm glad that they are authorizing intelligence.
Which I think is this is a very interesting paragraph, Gary, because, they're saying that it appeared in a Senate committee report outlining spending on the nation's intelligence agencies for the coming year. They don't worry about that. There are so many government agencies that are like black box budgets. You know what I mean? Black budgets. They have like a wide discretion on that. The reason that they put that in there is they wanted it to get out. Otherwise, I'm sure they've been doing this anyway.
Yep.
But they wanted this out in the public, and that was the first step, is letting the Senate committee know it. Do you think for real that was the first, like, hey, now we're going to do it? I mean, they're announcing it like that, but that's a lie. They've been doing it all along, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I believe there's people in government who believe this stuff, who are just UFO fans and they want to hear it. I think, there's a gazillion people in government now. I think the chances are very good there's a believer in UFOs in government, and if they get in a position of power, they're going, yo, man, this is what I got here for. Or there, I think the chances are there's something political behind it. There's some partisan political issue, because that's the motivation for everything in government nowadays. So that's what my guess is. But I could also believe that there might be some people who genuinely want the people to know. Maybe. But yeah, I think somebody put that there on purpose. Most definitely. That wasn't an accident. And Harry Reid has been behind this, and that's what makes me raise an eyebrow. It's like, why are you doing this? And maybe it's a passion project in retirement. And we all know that politicians, the only time I start liking them is in retirement. So once they're gone, they you notice the country gets a little nicer on them. Even President Bush, who was demonized by the press, not as bad as our current president, but it was bad for a long time. And I think deservedly so, personally. But while retired officials involved with the effort, including Harry Reid, the former Senate Majority Leader, hope the program will seek evidence of vehicles from other worlds. Its main focus is on discovering whether another nation, especially any potential adversary, is using breakout aviation technology that could threaten the United States. And yes, if it's another country, we should be shitting our pantses right now.
Yep.
Straight up. If it's another country, we're in trouble.
Well, but they would have already moved. I mean, I don't think it's another country.
No, I don't either. Not for a second. We're still, we sink more money. Now China has more people, but we sink so much money into this stuff that, and we have to, because we have to compete against China, which is going to be very hard. Because they can use like slave labor and stuff like that.
Yeah, really, they have an advantage.
Yep. Senator Marco Rubio, the Florida Republican, who is acting chairman of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, told a CBS affiliate in Miami this month that he was primarily concerned about reports of unidentified aircraft over American military bases, and that it was in the government's interest to find out who was responsible. Yes. I just rewatched the documentary today to prep for this. The UFO nukes in the UFOs. And while it was, the first part of it is an anti-nuclear commercial, which, we're all against nuclear war. I think I'm pretty anti-nuclear war myself. Oh, shit. Look at that. I'm busted. Look what I was looking at.
Yo ho ho. Are you going as Baby Yoda this Halloween?
Yeah. No, I wasn't looking at Ace Ventura, but there's the Galadriel. For sure.
Oh, nice.
There's Aragon right there. And look, Bill and Ted, the Hot Toys Bill and Ted, fucking awesome. They come with like all their stuff too, like their amps and guitars. It's pretty brilliant.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
I digress. I think it's pretty important because there are multiple accounts, again, by trained observers, people working in the military. People after these experiences were hysterical in fear. And mind you, these people are trained to guard our nukes, and to be able to have the mental stamina to press the button if they're ordered to. They don't just let anybody on a nuke base or on a nuke silo. Okay, you have to have the mental capacity to be able to handle, pulling the trigger on killing millions of people. And there are people who are willing to do that for their country. And these people were hysterical with fear afterwards, partially because the nukes were disabled at some point. Some point they were armed.
Yeah.
And this happened over and over again. And it was straight up, the hypothesis was they were fucking with us.
Yeah.
They were showing us how easily they could end us, how easily they could just turn off a nuke and end all our stupidity. I could see a race doing that. And I do think there might be something behind the first contact theory, where back in, when we started blowing up atomic bombs, that kind of got their attention. They've been around before, but that's when they started really kind of meddling in our affairs a little bit. And I think there might be something to that. We'll find out, maybe.
Yeah.
And but there was most definitely a lot of reports, and it's a fascinating documentary. It's a fascinating book. And all it does is it gathers all the stuff. You guys have heard a lot of these stories already. The guy who was filming the missile test, that's the best one. The guy with the beard. I can't remember his name. The guy was filming the missile test, and a UFO flew up with the missile, disabled the warhead, disabled the missile, and then flew away. And they didn't see it, but a guy had filmed it, and he saw it, and he saw the UFO, and gave his account of it. Of course, they destroyed the film and denied it ever happened. But this guy's been telling this story over and over again, and he was part of that big disclosure thing back in 2001 with Stephen Greer. He organized with, I believe it was Congress. Can't remember if it was Congress or Senate. And he was there telling that story, and that was one of the more legit stories. So I think it's a concern of ours. We should worry about the military bases and other things too. Maybe the taking of people. I think that's a bit of a concern too. I don't think it happens as much as people say, but I believe Travis Walton. I've met Travis Walton.
Really? You met him personally?
I met him personally. I met him at Contact in the desert and had a good long conversation with him. He was sitting by his book. I bought one of his books, and he was nice enough to sit there. And, I went there, I think, by myself. So I had no one to talk to. So I sat there and talked to Travis Walton. It was great. It was a cool dude.
No, that is really awesome, man.
Yeah.
There is that report that that the government was trading the UFOs the right to abduct a certain amount of the population in exchange for alien technology. I mean, that actually was reported by John Lear way back when.
Right.
You remember that?
Yeah, the Eisenhower Treaty or whatever, when they had that meeting. Yes, John Lear. John Lear's an interesting guy. Was an interesting guy. I don't think he's with us anymore. And his dad was the inventor of the Lear jet, right?
Right.
Or the company that created it. He's the one who turned Nap on to Bob Lazar. Was John Lear.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting guy. And he holds lots of patents himself, or records. I think it's records or something. He's got a lot of like aviation, or he had. It was an interesting guy.
Yeah. He went a little woo-woo on some of his theories.
Yeah.
Full disclosure, he thinks your soul gets transmitted to a to a base on the moon. And you know what? Shit. Who am I to doubt him? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I have I'll believe stuff to a certain extent. You saw a ship. If you seem credible, I'll listen to you. I think most, The Fourth Kind. I remember that movie. Is it called The Fourth Kind? It had Mila Jovovich, and it was up in Alaska, and there was a town when a bunch of weird stuff was happening. That sounded pretty weird and credible, but you never know. You never know. In 2017, the New York Times disclosed the existence of a predecessor unit called the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Defense Department officials said at the time that the unit and its $22 million, in funding had lapsed after 2012. After people working in the program, however, said it was still in operation in 2017 and beyond. Statements later confirmed by the Defense Department. Of course, they renamed this shit. There was a big, like Richard Dolan was on top of this back in 2009. He said they're rebranding UFOs. They're not going to call them UFOs anymore because they need to start selling this stuff to the public. And sure as shit, this stuff, like he was aware of this stuff and saying this stuff was going to happen like 3 or 4 years before it did. And he had a source and he couldn't say much, but like I was listening to him. Like all these guys, Mike Barra, Linda Moulton Howe, just you name them. I've been listening to them and reading their books for a long time now, long time. Like David Wilcock, who we'll talk about later. I've been watching this dude for a long time, and he's a master at what he does. He is absolute master at bullshit. I was just watching him right before we went live. I was watching one of his live streams, and oh my God, he gets a ton of people watching though. My God. Oh,
really?
People working with the program, however, said it was still in operation in 2017 and beyond. Statements later confirmed by the Defense Department. The program was begun in 2007 under the Defense Intelligence Agency and was then placed within the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence, which remains responsible for its oversight. But its coordination with the intelligence community will be carried out by the Office of Naval Intelligence, as described in the Senate budget bill. The program never lapsed in those years, but little was disclosed about the post-2017 operations, other than it got paid for. They just rebranded it so they could hide it.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I was saying, dude. It's like they just said that the money lapsed for it. Well, where did that come from? From black budgets. That's where it came from black budgets moving forward. So the fact that, I mean, they don't need to put it in a Senate, bill or anything. They don't need to get the funding that way. They put it in there as a prelude to disclosure, which they have now done very, very cleverly under the guise of or disguise of the beer buggery, which has completely gobbled up all the real estate, along with the riots and the fires and the politics and all that stuff. Beautifully done. Couldn't have been better timing. I mean, because they've slipped it out, they've admitted it. It's in people's consciousness, but they're too busy to really think over the ramifications.
Right.
And then when finally they wake up and they hear it, it's going to be, oh shit, that's right. But they will have already been inoculated against panic.
Oh God. And you just got me thinking of what is going on behind the scenes and what they're getting away with now. And with all the rioting and looting going on, people are going to be, as they are, howling for protection. And that's my conspiratorial mind automatically goes to, okay, if they go out there and riot and loot, we're going to get like Patriot Act times 10 part 2. And that's what I'm a little worried about. And it's almost like those agents of chaos want that to happen. I wish I could speak freely on this platform. I really do.
Me too. Ugh. Because I'm extremely suspicious. Dude. And I think we're thinking the same thing. And, agent provocateurs. That's all I can say.
Yep. So, and I'm sure all of you out there have your theories too. And you have our promise. We're going to probably have to go off platform, live or something, so we can have that conversation. Just wanted to bring the ExoZone back here on this platform and then maybe do one somewhere else so we can, although I got to watch it there because I can get in trouble and you can get in trouble there too.
Yep.
We made it very clear if you say stuff off platform. We just got to keep in the realm as we're talking about theories. None of this is news that we are reporting. We are floating out ideas, that we are just having conversations about possibilities. Nothing is a fact. We are not presenting anything like that. Other than this is a fact. This government document. The government is authorizing intelligence. By the way, it is. There it is, right there. For the year. Oh, it's not till next year though. Okay. Well, and boy, that looks boring. I don't want to read any of that, but that's the report that they say that it's in. We'll go back to the New York Times. I was like, oh God.
No, I know, but that's how cunning they are. Is though they will, God knows what stuff is hidden in that voluminous document, innocuously phrased. They could be talking about, we believe that this technology is coming from a sunken base around Atlantis, and then see last year's report, subparagraph. It could just be like, they're going to be like the fucking Holy Grail in there, and we'd never find it because of boredom.
Right. We found some oil deposits next to Godzilla, and then, but that's in the previous report. Exactly. The Pentagon program. Yes, monster. We found some deposits of limestone on Monster Island that were interesting. It's a new form of limestone. That was in the previous report, though. The Pentagon program's previous director, Luis Elizondo, a former military intelligence officer who resigned in October 2017 to make a lot more money after 10 years with the program, confirmed that the new task force evolved from the Advanced Aerospace Program. Like or dislike this dude, he's kind of a badass. He's he was an agent provocateur in war. Like he would go in Iraq and stir up people, and that is a risky job, to say the least. So it's no longer, it no longer has to hide in the shadows, Mr. Elizondo said. It will have new transparency. Mr. Elizondo is among a small group of former government officials and scientists with security clearances who, without presenting physical proof, say that they are convinced that the objects undetermined origin have crashed on Earth with materials retrieved for study. Now, Elizondo has said this publicly on Tucker Carlson. He said it repeatedly. I don't think this guy, why would he lie? I mean, he's got enough stuff out there already. We've got the video evidence. You don't need to go off and then expand on it and lie and risk screwing up everything else. You guys should be suspicious about everything. I am. Doomcock is, especially when it's coming from the government. And I think the question that gets asked the most is, what are they really hiding? And I think that's a legit question. And I don't know. But if they're hiding something behind this, maybe we don't want to know. For more than a decade, the Pentagon program has been conducting classified briefings for congressional committees, aerospace companies, executives, and other government officials, according to interviews with program participants and unclassified briefing documents. In some cases, earthly explanations have been found for previously unexplained incidents. Even lacking a plausible terrestrial explanation does not make it extraterrestrial. The most likely astrophysicists say, well, here. Yeah, you want to do that. You want to explain it, but they're with astrophysicists, with the scientific community now. I think they have been, in my opinion, discredited by their bias over the last few years, by their unwillingness to even look at this stuff. Yeah, there's some outliers. There's people out there like Michio Kaku who's open-minded about this stuff, and we need more of that. But I think more of it is towing the we are, it's almost like we humans are the center of the universe still. And all of a sudden it went from religion to science to have that thought, because they want to be the smartest monkeys or something. That's and that's the problem I have with science. Science is absolutely biased. They are partisan. And when you introduce something like this, it would F with all of their theories and all of their money. And their game, or how the kids say it on the internet now, their grift. It would mess with their grift. And it's true. It's true. You have
no, it is.
And you have to be open to this stuff now. But then something comes along that fucks up their grift anyway. Mr. Reid, the former Democratic senator from Nevada, who pushed for funding the earlier UFO program when he was the majority leader, said he believed that crashes of objects of unknown origin may have occurred and that retrieved materials should be studied. I think they've occurred. I think they've occurred a lot more than we think. And, mistakes get made. Even the aliens who knows how much they spend on their ships. Maybe they don't have money. Maybe they just think and a ship happens. I don't know, but they crash. And I am convinced Roswell happened. And then there's the Mexican Roswell, which has is even stranger. And then there's, Rendlesham. That wasn't a crash, but there's
right. Well, it was like a rescue operation. I'm pretty convinced, because there was some downed craft. It hadn't crashed, but it was basically down in the woods. I mean, they went right up to it and saw they were able to draw the strange kind of semi-hieroglyphic, runes on the side of the damn thing. And they had like these saucers, or, well, not saucers, but alien craft apparently, combing the woods looking for them, with basically like searchlights and things like that. So that shit happened. And
you got to think about those runes on the side. Like, what does that say? Like, I don't know. I can't get my head around a super intelligent race of beings, but I would think, why would they need to identify the side of their ship if they could just talk to each other? If they can just, speak to each other with their minds, why would they need to have runes on the side of their ship? Well, that means it's a marker, which means there's more of them.
Right. Oh, yeah. Some kind of identification, or I don't know. Maybe they're just fans of Tolkien. Maybe they were elven runes. Who knows?
Maybe they just wanted to come to the home of Tolkien. It's like, oh, let's go visit the planet of Tolkien as a space tourist.
That's right. They wanted to get their book signed, but they realized that they were, in the wrong place. Too late. Oh, well. Damn.
Klingons were fans of Shakespeare. So after looking into this, I came to the conclusion that there were reports, some were substantive, some not so substantive, that there were actual materials that the government and the private sector had in their possession, Mr. Reid said in an interview. And I know a lot of you out there in the chat are going, yeah, we've been talking about this for decades. decades at this point. God, I wish Art was around to see this.
I know. He would say, it's all coming together.
The quickening.
Oh, God. Man, if he was here, he would be freaking out because it really is quickening in every possible way.
No,
I'm quite unhappy at this point, and I'm quite alarmed, frankly. But continue. Sorry to interject.
No. That was the great thing about Art Bell, because he would creep you out every episode, because he would start his show with the news, which we should probably do that. That's a good idea. We should start like doing we should probably plan this thing a little more. But
well, we're so good at just doing it on the fly, though, you know.
And he would do the news, but then he would talk about the quickening. He would talk about the all the storms, and the quickening is happening. And he always made it feel like that we're on the brink of end times. And when it shows up, he's not here. I'm a little disappointed. The crashed artifacts have been publicly no crash artifacts have been publicly produced for independent verification. Some retrieved objects, such as unusual metallic fragments, were later identified from laboratory studies as man-made. Not all, though, because George Knapp has stuff from a Russian crash. When George, his story, like right when the Berlin Wall came down and Russia was in a really open spot, a lot of UFO people said, we got to get to Russia. George Knapp did. He went to Russia, talked to old KGB guys, and they had just gone through their change. That was a pretty ballsy move, and he ended up getting some stuff. He took advantage of it. That was awesome. Eric, it's just little pieces. Linda Moulton House claims she has stuff, but she's lost all credibility with me.
I think Knapp is one of the good guys. I mean, I tend to believe him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a genuine journalist who just kind of stumbled across the Lazar story and subsequently became very interested. And I think he's pretty credible.
I think he is too. He was great on Joe Rogan too. Eric W. Davis, an astrophysicist who worked as a subcontractor and then a consultant for the Pentagon UFO program since 2007, said that in some cases, examination of materials had so far failed to determine their source and led him to conclude we couldn't make it ourselves. I repeat that. This is an astrophysicist who worked as a subcontractor and then a consultant for the Pentagon UFO program since 2007, said that in some cases, examination of the materials had so far failed to determine their source and led him to conclude we couldn't make it ourselves. So he just said they had materials. There's materials. So while it hasn't been produced for independent thought, honestly, I love it when the New York Times and the media still speak of themselves like they're the media, of old. Like, well, it's not real until we report on it, until we look at it. I hate to break it to the New York Times. Nobody believes you anymore. That's probably part of the problem. People are going, this is a New York Times article, and people are going, okay, I'd probably believe it more if it was from the New York Post, to be honest with you. And that's part of the problem as well. They've lost so much credibility. Even when they give us something we actually want to hear, it's like, maybe the Inquirer was right all along. The constraint on discussing classified programs and the ambiguity of information cited in unclassified slides from the briefings have put officials who have studied UFOs in the position of stating their views without presenting any hard evidence. But the fact that we're getting people stating their views is huge. I mean, just that is huge. So we are in the midst of disclosure. This is it. I mean, maybe it's not as sexy and exciting, and we don't have like old Roswell video produced or the world famous
bodies.
Yeah. But we've got little pieces of ship that we don't know that may be ship. And listen, I don't know if it's aliens or extra dimensional or us from another time or Silurians from deep beneath the earth. I don't know. Mr. Davis, who now works for Aerospace Corporation, a defense contractor, said he gave a classified briefing to a Defense Department agency and as recently as March, about retrievals from off-world vehicles not made on this earth. Wow. I can't believe I'm reading this shit. I mean, I got to double check and make sure it's not like, ufotoday.gov or not .gov.
No.
.org.
.gov. No, man, this is real.
Yeah.
This is real. A classified briefing to a Defense Department agency as recently as March about retrievals from, quote, off-world vehicles not made on this earth. So there you go.
I don't believe in coincidences, and you and I discussed in length, in detail, Oumuamua.
Yes.
Oumuamua, which was something else, folks. If you're not aware of Oumuamua, it was a Battlestar Galactica shaped vehicle, meteor shard that was from deep space. And I do believe it was the first extra or interstellar object that we have been able to track coming through our solar system. And as it flew through it was spinning. And if you look really hard, you can find like legit video of it. It's blurry, but you can tell it's tumbling. It's tumbling. So it's probably a derelict ship or whatever. They produced an artist did a rendition of it. And of course they made it look like a meteor, but they have no idea what it looked like. What the two videos I saw, it looked reddish and metallic, and it sped up after it went around the sun, which it can't do. There's the slingshot effect, sure, but it sped up like it hit the gas. And we had scientists out there saying this is incredible. Then of course it got poo-pooed later, but nobody really knows. But then all this stuff, I mean, all this has come down in the last year and a half. I think it's strange. And then there's more Oumuamuas out there. So
right. Well, we've got, they're calling them centaurs. And last we reported on it on the ExoZone, they were kind of clustered around Jupiter, which is really weird. There were like 19 of these things kind of clustered around Jupiter, which I found somewhat alarming, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But, nothing much has happened. So perhaps all is not lost. I don't know.
It's not. So Mr. Davis, who just said off-world vehicles, not of this earth. Mr. Davis said he also gave classified briefings on retrievals from unexplained objects to staff members of the Senate Armed Services Committee on October 21st, 2019, and to staff members of the Senate Intelligence Committee 2 days later. Committee staff members did not respond to requests for comment on this issue. Public fascination with the topic of UFOs has drawn in President Trump, who told his son, Donald Trump Jr., in a June interview that he knew very interesting things about Roswell. Very interesting things, the most interesting things. A city in a city in New Mexico that is central to speculation about the existence of UFOs. The president demurred when he was asked if he would declassify any information on Roswell. I'll have to think about that one. He said he doesn't have the fucking power to do that. Sorry. No president does.
He doesn't know shit. Come on. He's just mouthing off. No, he doesn't know shit about UFOs. He doesn't give a damn about UFOs. But back up there, because I just want to look back. Jesus, look at this. Basically, Mr. Davis said he also gave classified briefings on retrievals of unexplained objects to staff members of the Senate Armed Services Committee, October 21st, 2019. Retrievals of unexplained objects. For God's sakes. Everything that we've thought about is in this article. I mean, everything we've claimed, everything we've speculated about. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, off-world materials, off-world vehicles not made on this Earth. Yeah, we've retrieved unexplained objects. By retrieval, they must mean crashed shit. They're saying unexplained objects, but basically it's crashed shit. You retrieve crashed shit. You find unexplained objects. It's just all there, man. There's just no way around it.
So we've been waiting for this hearing and for additional information. It seems to come every 6, 7, 8 months. So I imagine before the end of the year, probably right around the election when nobody's paying attention. And listen, I understand right now, the president would probably be, do you know who do we have the aliens phone number? Can we talk to anybody? Do we have anything definitive right now? Because if we don't, I'm kind of busy. I got that. So, and other people are there to do that job anyway. Either way, Mr. Reed said more should be made public to clarify what is known and what is not. It is extremely important that information about the discovery of physical materials or retrieved craft come out. He said, yeah, it's the biggest story ever.
It is.
Ever.
It absolutely is. And Jesus, it's moving, but nobody's paying attention. Now's the perfect time for them to go ahead and, let all this stuff out because nobody's paying attention. It'll just sink in. And then whenever anybody wakes up, it'll be, the blow will be so softened. You know what I mean? People are just preoccupied right now.
Yep.
Skype call the alien, says Phoenix Argus.
And Mark Luzeth asked, who's David Ike? David Ike is somebody I both of us know quite a bit about. I used to listen to his lectures. He has sold out Wembley Stadium with his lectures. It's incredible. He is a conspiracy guy, and he is really good at, I think he's almost autistic when it comes to noticing patterns in cities and stuff. And he's more of he's like the English Alex Jones, but he's not as bombastic. But he is definitely conspiratorial. He's a rabbit hole. I don't necessarily believe his conclusions on stuff, but I think he's definitely on to finding, getting to the root of who really controls us. I don't think any of us doubt that there is a group of very rich people who control our lives. How intimately, I don't know. There's days I think, I'm not paranoid to where I think that they're spying on me all the time. I'm not that exciting, to be honest with you. But I think they definitely want to shape the world the way they see it. And they think because they have billions of dollars that gives them the right to do this. They might even think deep down that they're doing the world some good, but they're not. They're not. Just because you're good at programming, just because you came up with a really good idea, doesn't mean you should be shaping the world. For example, Mark Zuckerberg, who's been, taking some flack, and Mark Zuckerberg is in the same position Mama Susan is in, where they want to make money. I don't necessarily think they want to silence our voices, but they feel like they have to. Now, I don't know. Maybe they do, but I think they would have already if they wanted to silence us. YouTube could have done that easily, but they're a business. They want to make money, and they also can't silence people because then the government would come down on them. So there's that. But Mark Zuckerberg came up with Facebook because he couldn't get laid. Now that's one of the greatest, that's a good motivation. If you can't get laid, you need to figure out ways to get laid. Now, usually it's game takes care of that problem. You either got it or you don't. But he decided to, come up with Facebook, but he shouldn't be shaping the world. Mark Zuckerberg is not the kind of person I want making policy decisions over my life. Susan Wojcicki, who became CEO of YouTube because she rented a garage to the guys who came up with Google. See, I mean, these are not people we want having control over our lives. maybe Elon Musk, maybe, but not too much. Yeah, I like Elon. I do.
Yeah.
I think
Interesting guy.
he is. Yes, but Jeff Bezos is like he's a nerd. He's a nerd. And now is he who's the richest guy in the world?
It's Bezos,
It's gotta
from
be.
what I understand.
And then it's who's that after that? Is it probably
I don't know that, but Bezos, holy crap, he is loaded. Thank him for saving The Expanse, by the way.
Yeah. Too bad they didn't release it weekly. Oh, can I just whinge on that just a little bit?
Sure.
I've been going back and forth kind of behind the scenes. There's all those people review bombing on Amazon. I've been kind of sniping them a little bit. So the whole weekly argument, everybody's complaining that The Boys being released weekly is bad. And I just want to remind everyone, whether you like the Umbrella Academy or not, this Friday would have been its 9th episode if it was released weekly, and you guys probably don't even remember it. It's such a distant memory now. The Umbrella Academy season 2, it would still be on the air. It was only 10 episodes, but we would be at the penultimate episode right now if it was released weekly, and people would still be talking about it, but they're not. Nobody's talking about it at all. It's gone. So that's my example. Right?
No, it's absolutely correct, man. In fact, just today, one of my wrenches sent out a message asking, have you heard about this Umbrella Academy? Is it any good? And it's like, that's like, oh my God, if that damn thing had been handled correctly, he'd know.
Yep.
He'd know. But no, that's how badly things are. As people are asking, this Umbrella Academy thing,
that old show.
Is it any good?
That old show.
Yeah. I don't know. I never really heard much about it. Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, that's because they dumped it in 2 loads. 2 loads.
Wow, we got 2,000 people watching the ExoZone. That's epic. What's up, Tim F? How's it going? Tim F is here, and John Reddick, and Jeffrey Riley, and Red Pill Gary, and Christopher Sir. Oh, how am I supposed to pronounce your last name? Sir. How do you pronounce this last name, Dooomcock?
Sigurdsson.
Sigurdsson. Yeah. Hi, Christopher. Sorry to fuck up your last name there, buddy. And then Annie and Danny Galaxy and Michael Hartwell, welcome. And Adventure Industries too. Welcome to the ExoZone, everyone.
All right.
We got to get some questions here, and then we will go on to some bird deaths, some unfortunate bird. I loved it when I hated hearing this news. Okay, but Tyler was really good. He got a lot of shit for his UFO videos, but he covered a lot of stuff. Strange Noises was my favorite, but he also covered the weird amount of mass animal death that goes all over the world. I'm sure some of it is absolutely environmental, but it's the birds that are the weirdest thing. We've got a bee problem still, and we've got a bird problem. It definitely has to do with the magnetic field, in my opinion, and whether it's changing naturally or not. Robert Meyer Burnett tweeted 2 days ago, I got to pull up the article, that there's a big magnetic anomaly forming over South America right now, and it possibly is going to split into 2, and it's huge.
Oh God,
it's massive, and they don't know what the hell it is. They have no idea what the hell it is. And we know so little about this planet. We think we know what's at the core, but we don't really know. I think the furthest we've dug down was 8 miles. I think the Russians did it, and the drill melted when it went too far. So we really don't know. But these magnetic anomalies, I think they're probably something that's always happened, and we've only been able to read them for how long? 50 years, maybe. So it's the same thing with California wildfires. I was just watching David Wilcock, and he was saying apocalyptic wildfires in the West, and they're bad this year. They're bad, but there's years where we have bad fires. It happens all the time, and that wasn't even the first time the sky had turned orange in San Francisco, folks. It turned not that dark, but it turned orange when I was living there from sand from the Gobi Desert, the big desert in China. Had a
Right.
huge sandstorm, and the sand flew over the Pacific and covered San Francisco. And so it's weird shit happens all the time. But that's why I miss Tyler, because he used to gather that stuff up. And we have an article that was sent to me. By the way, guys and gals, thank you for sending Dooomcock and I all your ExoZone articles. We go through them. We're going to try to get as much of them as possible onto a show, because you do. I mean, you're an excellent resource. So thank you all. And I know you guys love.
God, yeah.
And I love the show too, by the way.
Oh, me too. And I got to say, especially I want to send love out to Jamie Folds, who sends me lots of stuff. Hail, Jamie.
Hail, Jamie. Good looking out. And we're going to do this more. And if Dooomcock and I could do this show like all the time, we would. It would take a lot, but this is, hopefully someday the culture war ends and I can just review television shows and talk about UFOs. That would be nice. Someday, we can always have lofty goals that we probably won't meet. But,
we can hope. We can dream.
We can dream. So, in New Mexico, the birds are dying at alarming rates. For weeks, biology, and this article comes from September 14th, 2020. And it was here. I got to find out who emailed me this. Sorry, give me a second here. I should get proper.
Sure, no problem. But I find this very disturbing. I mean, you're thinking it's a shift in the magnetic field. I don't know. Would that kill them? I don't know.
Well, let's find out how they're dying first.
Okay.
Like when they're flying into shit, or they're doing I have a tree out front of my new house, the house I'm renting, and it's this giant eucalyptus tree, and every night at dusk all the crows come in, and it looks like freaking Game of Thrones, dude. It looks like Bran at the weirwood tree. I swear to God. So Melissa's like, you're not going to believe this. And she shot video of it. I put the video up on Twitter, and it's, like a couple of hundred of them. So they come at night at dusk, and they make a bunch of fucking noise. So I can't record any videos. Even I've got dual pane glasses. You can still hear them. They get really noisy, and then they stop. And then for some reason they fly away from the tree about 400 or 500 yards, and then they fly right back and shut up and stay there for the rest of the night. And they do this every night. It's weird. It's so weird. So yeah, I think I think they have to, well, they obviously guide themselves somehow. And I think they've said it's the magnetic field. I am a dummy. I've been kicked out of 3 high schools. So, but I've watched a lot of documentaries. This email was sent to me by Wen P. So thank you, Wen, for sending this article. I appreciate it. And yes, in New Mexico, the birds are dying at alarming rates. For weeks, biologists in New Mexico have observed strange and alarming behavior in migratory birds. Warblers, sparrows, and western wood pewees, I have no idea what that is, have been clustering together in large groups, only to die en masse from unknown causes. It is terribly frightening. Martha Desmond, a professor at New Mexico State University Department of Fish, Wildlife, and Conservation Ecology, told the Las Cruces Sun News, "We've never seen anything like this. We're losing probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of migratory birds." What the fuck?
God, I mean, it's really disturbing. Really disturbing.
Last month, flocks of avian carcasses from swallows, blackbirds, and flycatchers as well were found at the White Sands Missile Range and the White Sands National Monument in southern New Mexico. At first, officials didn't think the incidents were related, but now, according to Desmond, the death toll has reached an unprecedented and very large number. Trish Butler, a wildlife biologist at the Missile Range, told KOB4 that she and her colleagues typically find fewer than half a dozen dead birds in a week, but in the last 7 days, we've found a couple hundred. So that really got our attention. Meanwhile, bodies are also found dead in Doña Ana County, at Yemez Pueblo, Roswell, and Socorro. I got to ask my sister if she's seen any of this stuff. She lives right around that area. Wildlife experts at NMSU, the Bureau of Land Management, and the Missile Range are working together to pinpoint a single most likely explanation. Well, it's around the White Sands.
Mm.
What could it be?
Some kind of test, some kind of ray. God knows, man. That's creepy as hell.
It is. I mean, isn't that didn't they film Genghis Khan out around there, and that ended up killing John Wayne and half the crew because of all their testing?
Right, because of all the film kept coming back fogged, and it was from the damn radiation. They were wondering what the hell's wrong with the film, and it's like, well, that's that radiation, dude.
Yep. Didn't a bunch of people from that movie die too? I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was radioactive out there, and they think it's just perfectly fine. They're out of their minds.
But so far, they're somewhat baffled. Desmond told the Sun News that some witnesses have reported birds looking sleepy, just really lethargic, before they expire. Many of them also molted as if they were ready for winter traveling. Interesting. You have to be healthy to do that. But somewhere after that, as they initiated their migratory route, they got in trouble. The die-offs have primarily affected insect eaters. They have primarily affected insect eaters, but not resident species. Desmond speculated that droughts and the massive wildfires currently raging in the West Coast might play a role. The smoke could have damaged the birds' lungs, she told Sun News, and prevented them from fully preparing their bodies for the journey south. They may have been pushed out before they were ready to migrate, Desmond said. They have been put on a certain amount of fat for them to be able to survive for the migration. The birds migrate at night, and they get up into the jet stream, and they might migrate for 3 nights in succession. They'll come down and they'll feed like crazy, put on more fat, and go again. Little birds got up there in the jet stream. Well, it must be easier, just sit there and kind of go. The dead birds will be shipped to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service Forensics Laboratory in Ashland, Oregon, where all the fires are, for analysis. Analysts and officials are asking observers to report any group fatalities they might spot to a naturalist online database. And while it still could be weeks before researchers get concrete answers as the New Mexico birds scourge, we know the climate crisis is already having an adverse impact on animals, orcas, polar bears, koalas, birds, and beyond. They only stands to get worse if humans fail to drastically curb atmospheric warming. Well, I'll talk about that in a little bit. We don't want to start that debate here because I don't know anything. But the birds dying off in mass, the fires, maybe that sounds plausible to me. But around that base, if it was the fires, why are they dying just in New Mexico? Why aren't they dying in other states? What about Utah, Nevada, or whatever? I think it being specific. This is just my opinion to White Sands. Maybe they're doing something. Listen, the government has done this before. They did this with the dolphins in San Diego. They were doing some sonar thing that was, screwing up the dolphins and the whales. So, you don't know until you try these things sometimes, and you don't think about the effects and what's going on. Or it could be something else. It could be the quickening. Could be.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That is so very pointedly localized at a military base or testing grounds. Boy, I just don't know. I find all of those explanations unsatisfactory, to be honest. That's
Yeah.
in the tens of thousands or even millions. This is horrible. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but it's definitely something very suspicious to me.
It is. And listen, oh God, I'll just say this when it comes to they bring up climate change, right? Because they got to make it political and absolutely fucking everything. You know, Gavin, my governor, went out, he went to a forest fire and said, oh, it's obviously global warming. And it's like, okay, all right. So I am a big fan, damn near a student of Randall Carlson. I've watched all of his lectures multiple times. I go to bed to them at night. I'm like, so they're ingrained in my head. And you know, the environment's always changing. And yes, things are getting warmer. We're in the warmest period we've probably ever been in, ever. At least as far as humans being on this earth. This has been the warmest period. And, you know, there's been a lot of evidence that we actually flourish during warm periods. We just got out of an ice age, you know, geologically speaking, just a minute ago. And that lasted a long time before that. The earth has been a snowball before. We've had huge, and it's usually cataclysms that come in and change things. The reason Randall gets, the point I'm making is the reason Randall gets so much blowback on some of his theories, which are based on research and science. It's none of this shit is woo woo. He's got you know, theories that might be considered woo woo, but when it comes to walking the land, I mean, this guy does more than your average geologist does. And he's got it. He runs a construction company and he goes out and like does this shit on his own. And his whole theory was, you know, the Younger Dryas and the ice age ended almost instantly due to shards of a comet possibly crashing into the ice sheets. And the whole point is the earth recovered. The earth recovered. I mean, it got wiped out over, especially here in the United States. The United States got wiped out. Like the whole damn country was on fire. And there is a lot of evidence of this. And it recovered. Now, a lot of species were lost, a lot, and man barely survived. But we can recover from this shit. Now, as far as birds and a very specific thing, I don't think this is environment. I think you're right. I think it's something else. What it is, I don't know. But it being that specific to that location, to White Sands, where they've done nuclear testing before, they probably do stuff now. Isn't there? I mean, it's still an active base, right? And wasn't Bob Lazar down, not at White Sands, but he was close, doing some stuff down there too. And yeah, I think it might be us. It might be us.
But what were they testing and why? I mean, what was it? Some kind of, I don't know, sonic kind of a weapon or some kind of force field or electrical field, or, and what is the intention of it? You know, I mean, obviously they're not interested in killing birds. So what are they interested in targeting with whatever this is? I don't know, but I'm a little, I don't know.
I don't
What do you think?
Our government has been working on, continues to work on, and will continue to work on anti-gravity, which I think could have, I mean, just as a layperson, I think that could have some probably some hideous side effects if we're testing that stuff out. And it could, you know, if you can warp light, imagine what it does to reality or any living thing that's near it. If you're testing some of that stuff, that's just a thought. It's just a thought. If you can bend light, which supposedly they can do with element one, is it 115? Element 115 that supposedly Bob Lazar did not steal, wink, wink, from Area 51.
I don't know, but he saw it. He definitely saw it.
Oh yeah, I think he took it. I think he totally took it. I would. Damn right. Hear that, government?
No, that's
if I had alien shit, I would pocket that stuff in a second.
Well, sure, if you could get out, but I don't know, man. That's weird. But I do believe Bob Lazar. I do believe that he worked there. I do believe he saw the things he saw, and I don't think he's lying.
No, I don't think so either, because his story, he's added a couple things when he was allowed to. One of his things got proven in that documentary, which was a lot of fluff, but that whole finger identification thing where you put his hand on those little metal things that come up to identify your palm print. Them
Right.
finding that, I thought, was huge, because nobody had ever heard of it before. And then they discovered it. And then also verifying his employment. I thought that was kind of a big deal too. So, because they've denied, they scrubbed this guy's records. And now that they've proven he worked there, it proved that the government goes out and scrubs your goddamn records from universities and stuff. They have the power to do that.
Yeah.
That is some scary shit.
1984, the Ministry of Truth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's on its way. Jesus.
Yeah, they can go ahead and take care of certain inconvenient historical facts. And if you happen to be one of those inconvenient historical facts, you can be fixed.
Yeah. Fixed.
Yeah.
Like a dog. Culture Casino, thank you for the phallic unicorn for $1.49 Mexican, and congratulations on 1,000 subs there, buddy. Hope the channel keeps growing. Culture Casino's good dude. Mexican Iron Man, you know Culture Casino.
Yeah,
he's cool. Mexican Iron Man, there's another cool guy right there for $20. The SJWs and Hollywood writers are reptilian. You know what? Yes. Mexican Iron Man shall drown them with guacamole and sour cream turbo launchers, thus driving them back to the woke dimension from whence they came. All Dooomrotic army attack. Hail!
Hail! Outstanding. Love you, Mexican Iron Man. You're awesome.
Go back to the void from which you came. Sorry. I was just watching The Hobbit on Hobbit Day. So CJ 1499. Hail Lord Dooomcock. Gary informed us that it appears someone was talking rather nastily about you, Lord. Do you wish me to have Harvey, or do you wish me and Harvey to smite them, cast them down to Uber Eats deliveries? Oh, it's already been done.
It's already been done, as a matter of fact. Yeah, it's like, I think that the oblivion of having a tiny, tiny channel that nobody gives a shit about, where the biggest thing that they have going for them is talking shit about me, and it still doesn't work for them. I think that's hell enough. I just ignore the hell out of these little nobodies. And that drives them even more crazy than even if I responded, which they want, because it would generate traffic for them. I don't even say what their name is. I don't say what their channel is. I give them nothing at all. I just don't care. So that's my response. And I urge you, whenever anybody does a nasty video about me, if you want to support me, don't watch it. Just don't watch it. Just ignore them and deny them. Let them drown in obscurity.
Yes. I said my piece yesterday. I swore I will never bring that person up again, and I won't. And it's
no, man. I appreciated it. I did. I appreciated it.
We talked about it. And
no, I really appreciate it, man. No, I did. Every once in a while, it's fun to slap these idiots, and I don't blame you at all, man. Thank you.
You're welcome. I got your back, and
absolutely,
the whole community has your back. That's how I found out about it. Somebody emailed me. A lot of people emailed me about this thing, and there are bottom feeders out there that, I'll be kind. I'll be kind now. I'll say, you know what? If you want your channel to grow, there is plenty to talk about. You don't go after individuals. You don't go, listen, if you're defending $1 billion company, what are you going to get? A crumb of pussy from fucking Disney? You're not. You're wasting your time. But if you want to attack our arguments in a video, go for it. By all means. I don't care. I'm with Dooomcock. I just don't, I don't give it time of day. I've had videos made about me too, but this was a step too far, in my opinion. and I said my piece, and I left it at that. And I don't want to discredit anybody who worked for Uber Eats, but most people from Uber Eats aren't falsely or aren't lying about my friends. So that's it. And in a celebration of that rant yesterday, I did order some Uber Eats. I did. First time I did that. It was very convenient. I liked it. It was nice to have it dropped off at my door. It was. But thanks, CJ. Good looking out, buddy. It looks like you already did your job, though. You already did your job. And all of it is, envy is not a cool thing. It's not you're not healthy. It's not a healthy thing to be envious and jealous, and that's what it all is. Or playing ops behind the scenes, because I mean, most of the time I don't know about it. I don't play around on Twitter or Discord or anything like that. I'm way too busy working on my channel, raising my kid, hanging out with my wife, and Dooomcock has his life too. Robots don't build themselves, folks. He's a busy guy planning. I think it's almost time for you to take over, dude, to be honest with you. I'm about ready. I don't know if I want to be the king of San Francisco anymore, though.
Well, we'll shift your city. That's okay. That's totally okay. But I love these little idiots. I just love them. There's one clown that will remain nameless that basically is lying about me and admits to lying about posting lies and bullshit and misinformation on 4chan and Reddit. So busted themselves for posting lies. Have probably done it again, but only wanted to spring it on the Fandom Menace when somebody mentioned the shit. How many things didn't get mentioned? How many things just lied out there? Liars and scumbags. And that's why their channels don't grow.
Yeah. I mean, listen, you want to know the secret to the Fandom Menace? I'll give you guys the secret to the Fandom Menace. Connecting with an audience. That's it. If you to put that time and energy into connecting with an audience, telling them how you really feel about things, being honest, because the people out there, I am a fellow viewer of YouTube. I watch as much as anybody else, and the audience isn't dumb, so they can tell when you're a shill, they can tell when you're not, and that's the bottom line. That's the big secret is for some reason, people like Dooomcock. People like his message. People like his channel. Over 200,000 have subscribed and it's growing every day. And instead of being envious, emulate, be inspired by that. That's what I get inspired by success. I watch Mahler and Critical Drinker and Dooomcock and Jeremy, and I watch all these people. I love to see them succeeding. It is fun to watch these people succeed, and I try to do my best to emulate that, to do it in my way, and I'm inspired by it. And the Fandom Menace gets such a bad rap. For one, it's a hashtag, but it's got a lot of great people in it. Not everybody's great in it, and not everybody loves me, and that's fine. But yesterday I called on the Fandom Menace, and I know you did too, Dooomcock, and thank you. And my lovely wife did it on Instagram as well to help Michael Hogan. And I'll put the link in the description right now. The great Colonel Ty from Ronald D. Moore's Battlestar Galactica had an accident, a fall of some kind. He's hit his head or something, and he's paralyzed. So he has to refit his entire house to accommodate him. I don't know if he's going to recover or not, and he's not young. And I've had a sick father at home, and I know how much it costs just for that. I can't imagine retrofitting a house. And so I just, simply called on the Fandom Menace, and fuck, you guys rose up. You guys are awesome. So, I don't care what anybody says.
No, absolutely. The greatest bunch of people you could ask for. And I thank all of you for listening to the ExoZone and both of our channels, the Inquisition. And it's just a real honor to be associated with all of you guys. And thank you for subscribing to us. Thank you for having faith in us. And the more successful we get, the more we will attract bottom feeders and liars like these guys. And thanks for not believing them or listening to them.
Yeah. Just thanks for having our back. And we'll try to have yours as well as much as we can, and we really appreciate all the emails and looking at it. I really do. It's bad enough when we have agent provocateurs from the billion-dollar corporations going after like the fact that they pay attention to us at all is, it's a little dumbfounding. It's like, you're a billion-dollar corporation. Am I actually hurting your show? Or maybe, just maybe, your writer is hurting your show. Maybe Chris Chibnall is hurting your show and not me. I didn't write any of that shit. I didn't direct any of that shit. I didn't fucking cast Jodie Whittaker. And neither did you, and neither did Bird of Prey 5, or neither did Brakir or Crazy Cat Guy. No, we're just reacting to what you gave us. Make better TV. Write better shows. That's pretty simple.
But they can't get that. And you know what? I think it's just that the truth hurts.
Yeah.
I think that's all it is. The truth really hurts, and they can't stand it. And that's what we do, is we just tell the truth. They don't like it.
Yep. Bird of Prey 5. Kapla! Bird of Prey 5 for $5. Someone needs to punch me. I'm not going to punch you. I think I'm dreaming. Can this really be happening? Don't play with my emotions. If I'm asleep, I don't want to wake up. Yes, the ExoZone is happening. Bird. It's happening. It's back. It's back. I fucking love this show, man.
I love it. It's a lot of fun. It just flies by too.
Glad Overlord DVD is liking the 18-year-old Scotch I got him. He still needs to try Big Pete. And what's Clinish? What's Clynelish? Is it Clinish or Slin? I don't know. How would you pronounce that?
I would probably think it's Clinish. I don't know, but I got to tell you, Breaker, aka Brakir, I really, really love it, and I'm planning a restocking sojourn over to the store tomorrow, where I will look for Big Pete. I will look for Big Pete, see if I can find it.
We need a video of Dooomcock going to the liquor store with his robots. Like he sends them all out to go get his, fetch me my 18-year-old Scotch, and he just stands there and waits.
And they go around, and the giant robots, they have, like, it's really sad and embarrassing, but they do have grocery carts that pop out of their midsections, and they fill them up. It's bad, I know, but I'm ashamed. It's so craven. It's so bad, and I think it might have a problem. No, I'm just kidding. Right. But I shouldn't have designed them like that.
Brakir, Crazy Cat Guy, and Crazy Cat Guy, thank you for the 2 phallic unicorns and the ice cream for $1.49 each. I appreciate you. So, with the alien thing, okay, so I want to go back to that question. I was watching the Jimmy Church Fade to Black. Now I'm kind of hot and cold on Jimmy Church, to be honest with you. I think some of his takes are and some of them aren't, and he's friendly with people. I don't know. What I wanted to talk about with the UFO community and why I think there needs to be new blood. Okay, so I'm watching David Wilcock, and again, I don't want him kicked off of YouTube. He does what he does. That's his own channel. It's his own business. I'm critiquing it, but I don't want him not to exist. And if he gets money and if he's connecting with people, then good on him. Here's my opinion of it, though. I've watched this guy for a long, long time, and his game is talking. One of the best talkers I've ever seen. I watched a live stream for 21 minutes. I couldn't tell you what he fucking said. I couldn't tell you what his point was. I don't know. It was just words, and it felt like he was going somewhere with these words, and then he didn't go anywhere. He talked about ascension. So he's I'm all about ascension, and I'm part of ascension. I'm okay. Where are we ascending to? All right. But he goes, so he'll start a thought, and he'll go, okay, so I did a show 4 years ago predicting all this would happen, and it's happening now. We're going to talk about time travel in 5 minutes, but I did a show with so-and-so talking about what's happening now, and it's the ascension. And in that show, when I talked about it, I discussed a show that I did before that. So right before he gets to his point, right, he goes on to another conversation. So he never gets to what he wants to say. Now, he did mention that he's afraid of speaking freely on this platform. And with that, he actually has my sympathy. Yes, there are things you can't say on this platform anymore, or you'll just get kicked off. But the proof is in the pudding. The fact that he's still on the platform, and when I know some of the stuff he used to say, and he's not saying it anymore. He's just saying a bunch of word salad for 4 hours. I don't know how he does it. I mean, I'm actually impressed. And he had like 400,000 views on his live stream. Like, woo, that's good.
Wow.
I couldn't tell you what he said. I was actually trying to, I wanted to watch one of his live streams and talk about what he was going to talk about, but I don't know. I was 20 minutes in. And I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Are we talking about time travel or aliens or ascension to where? And I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm like, God damn, he's good. He's really good. And, it's the guru aspect of ufology that's bugging me. If you got your own game and your own channel and your own thing and your audience, whatever, it's a free country, go for it. I don't have a problem with that at all. But I think overall, the community has been taken over by this. I noticed this the last time I went to Contact in the Desert, and it was mostly, just super spiritual woo-woo stuff. And that's not why I go to UFO conferences for. Sure, there's a spiritual aspect to it that you can have some conferences, but it's really getting into like, they're even wearing the clothing, like the white loose-fitting clothing, and talking about meditation, and it's like, whoa. I came here to talk about, UFOs and what new information. And the thing is, there's not a ton of new information out there. And we saw that we definitely see the giant hole that Art Bell left, because again, he was a lightning rod for that stuff. So everybody would send him stuff, legit, non-legit, but at least it was going one place. And now it's just scattered. And honestly, we need more credibility. The loss of Stanton Freeman was massive. Yes, he was old, but that guy would call out bullshit. Like, that's why he was legit. I mean, I've always felt like that guy was one of the most legit people in our field and moved it forward. And thank God for Richard Dolan, but he stopped making content for a while. I don't know why. Maybe he's, because of the coup or something.
Oh,
but
man.
And we just need something. If it's ExoZone, cool, great. But I would like it to be somewhere, so we could, because I had a hard time finding like legit good info. And unless you're like really in the know with the community and all the deep lore, which most people don't have time for. And that's the problem. That's why this stuff with the New York Times fell flat, because in the 90s, like, everybody was thinking about this. Yes, because it was in pop culture. X-Files, Art Bell was at his peak. Everybody was into UFOs. And if it happened then, it would have had a more of effect, which would have got the media at the time to look into it, and we would have gotten more answers. Right now, we're not getting answers because nobody's asking any questions. They just let it go. And we need more people asking questions, being curious about this. We can't let the story die down. I mean, yeah, we got this big coof thing going on, but we all have a lot of extra time. And I spent a lot of time looking for stuff today, and I just didn't find anything new. There used to be new information, not every day, but once a week. Once a week, there was something. I haven't seen as much as a sighting or anything. There was that, that UFO crash in Brazil that was, debunked. And, maybe it is because of the coup and nobody can travel, but it's a bummer. It's a bummer that it feels like the field's dying out,
Well, it does. And I think that there's, it's such a weird thought that, like you're saying, in the 90s, if this had come out, it would have spread like wildfire without, Twitter, without Facebook, without really, the internet in the current state that it's in. We have so much ability to communicate these days, but I also think that there is such a morass of information that it's really, really hard to punch through. Oddly enough, now if the right conditions are met, I mean, it can like go like viral. But the problem is, it's like a wildfire. I mean, it'll go viral, and then 48 hours later, there's some other new thing. So the half-life of information is much shortened. It just comes and goes. It just burns itself out like a fever. And so it's really difficult to get the word out. And it's difficult also because, well, you're saying that a lot of the voices in ufology right now are not credible, or have, through internal squabbling, or they've lost the gravitas or the heft to ram their message through, which is true. But I think that's also a problem just in general. Truth is under assault, and it's very, very hard for anybody at this point to know what is true. And we're standing on the edge of history, I think, Gary, because once deep fake technology, just a few more years of that shit, we're not going to be able to trust our own eyes. We're not going to be able to trust anything we see or hear, because they can do deep fake recordings as well. I mean, it's a really, really scary time, and I'm hoping that some counter programmers will be coming up with complex algorithms that can sniff out deep fakes as quick as people can make them. Otherwise, I think we're in a shitload of trouble.
Well, yeah. Part of Jimmy Church's show last night was talking to an expert on artificial intelligence. He was some Occupy guy, but when he got past the politics, he had some pretty freaking scary things to say. So apparently, I looked for an article on this. I couldn't find anything specific. Maybe I didn't look hard enough, but he said there's AI out there that can write a book like Stephen King now. You can just feed it some information, like basic plot points, and it can write a book, a horror novel that you couldn't tell wasn't written by a human. That AI can do that right now. We have AI books that can be written. When we go down that road, I mean, like, okay, great. Hollywood will be less political because they'll just have AI fucking write all our stories, and it'll probably have a lot more soul. But it's bad. This is incredibly bad because we're heading towards a singularity with the deep fakes, with the AI, with everything. This is, yeah, I don't know if, again, like I said, with that movie that's on Netflix that I won't bring up, there are certain lines we just shouldn't cross. Just because we can doesn't mean we need to do it for whatever reason. We need to think about the overall well-being of our species. And that's something that a lot just has been completely lost in this era of ingratitude. That's the way I like to call it. The era of, we're right now in the time of ingratitude. Not you guys in the chat, but there's a lot of ungrateful people who are always talking about how awful everything is all the time in our country, where, it's one thing if it's entertainment, but every single aspect of it all the time. No, please. If you can go and complain about something on social media and your internet is still working and the power grid is still on, things are still working okay.
Mm-hmm.
Not the best of times, but Jesus. So here, we were talking earlier about physics, the laws of physics.
Yes.
And those laws might be a changing.
Yes. This is an interesting article. Please share it with us, my friend.
There is something about our universe. Find after mapping. Oh, there's some dumb thing in front. Okay. There's something strange about our universe. Scientists find after mapping the cosmos. Our universe is much more homogeneous than we expected, would be expected. Scientists have said our said after producing a detailed map of matter in the cosmos, the findings could suggest that there is something deeply strange about our understanding of the universe, which could require a new kind of physics or fundamentally alter our understanding of dark matter. In other words, all the brainiacs, all the big brains in the school, their math might be bad. And this is something I love to bring up when you see Neil deGrasse Tyson out there talking, one of the most smug dudes on the planet. Always, especially when he's poo-pooing the whole UFO issue and he brings up the physics. And I always brought up, it's like, well, we are fundamentally flawed as humans. We are not perfect creatures. We're always evolving and, learning. I don't think we have anything close to figured out now. And I don't know how they could possibly, and that's their game. That's the scientific game. And that's the dogma that goes with the scientific academic community nowadays. I think they have, in some cases, outlived their usefulness due to their partisanship and their worship of science. They have become the new church in a lot of ways. They used to be open-minded. Geologists didn't used to be just geologists. They used to do other things, and that would be a hobby or something they did on the side, and it was just recently that geologists became, academic. I mean, recently in the last couple hundred years. And they fought really hard to get past the religious aspect, because originally it would be somebody, a priest or somebody who's deeply religious into geology, trying to basically frame all of their science within the Bible. And then it in the late 1800s, early 1900s, I could be off on the time frame, they really fought against that, and they tried to prove everything or disprove everything in the Bible. And that's what's been they like this gradualism thing, right? For geology. They've been really fighting for gradualism, and it turns out they have been looking past cataclysms. And the reason they've been looking past cataclysms is because they didn't want to prove the damn flood theory in the Bible. And that's what keeps us from moving forward. We have two factions. We have one wanting to prove the flood, one wanting to disprove the flood. And it comes down to that. And it turns out that there was probably a flood, so what? And it wasn't just the Bible that talked about it. It was every other fucking culture on the planet has a flood story. And you still have people talking about gradualism and blah, blah, blah. So that's what keeps science from moving forward. And that's what I have a problem with, is they are so anti-religious or even looking at something strange. And that's what scientists should be doing. It should be looking at everything strange. If there's a bunch of people seeing ghosts, they should really be scientifically trying to look into it and find out what the answer is. It might be nothing. We don't know until we actually seriously take a look at it, but they never have. They never really have. And that's
absolutely. I mean, you're absolutely right, dude. I mean, look, scientific orthodoxy really wants to go ahead and dismiss anomalies or pieces of information that don't fit into their already assembled picture. And really, anomalies should be your greatest clue that your picture of the universe is incomplete. Anomalies should tell you, what? This is a valuable piece of data here that should be at least examined with an open mind. Scientists are supposed to have open minds. They are not supposed to be faith-based. Their faith in their orthodoxy, their faith in their tenures, their faith in their positions should not weigh into anything. They should be open on the turn of a dime to go ahead and revise their view of anything if they find data that contradicts it. And I mean, they are just as narrow-minded as, church leaders were with Galileo. They are acting on faith. They are acting on protecting the status quo rather than having their minds open, vigorous, and inquiring. And this is a disgrace. This is an absolute disgrace. My mind is open to everything. My mind is completely agnostic about a lot of the things that we talk about until I see proof. I myself have seen an unidentified flying object that was very, very weird under weird circumstances, and got a picture of it. So I know that that's not fake. And that is data to me. The same thing with the, Navy releasing this stuff about the Tic Tacs. Well, that is data, my friends. That is data. And that should make you, it should force you to, if it is a fact, revise any paradigm that excludes that fact, because then your paradigm has been proven wrong. It's been proven wrong. That's science, for God's sakes. So I don't know where these people get off. And you're right about Neil deGrasse Tyson. The guy's an arrogant son of a gun. I mean, I actually saw him. What was it? No, it was Michael Dyson. I get those guys. What's his name? Michael Dyson something or other. Yeah, he was debating Stephen Fry about political correctness, and Stephen won.
Yes. And dude, they okay, hashtag not all. Yeah, they're not all bad. There's a lot of them out there fighting for some of this stuff and getting shut down by the academics, but they're, or their fellow academics. So they're not all bad. There are people trying, and there's Michio Kaku, who's one of the good guys out there. But they're mostly they're resistant to this stuff, and it's okay to be, force people to prove their theories. I get that, but but they're not even bothering to look at things that have, again, ghosts have been, as long as man has been around, they have been seeing it. So what is it? It's got to be something. Enough people have been seeing something. It's not that many people having a delusion. There could be a scientific explanation that we don't understand yet. That's probably the case. Who knows until you find out. And with the UFO thing, academics could have gone full bore out and looked into this and didn't. They didn't need the government. You don't just need the government to look into this. But they're very happy collecting their tuitions, their ridiculous tuitions. And, while I was talking right now, like 8 more women's studies classes have been, developed in our universities across the country. And that's part of the problem as well. You want to talk about
you're right, man. I mean, that right there is the problem with it, is that the vast majority of people out there in every field are pretty unimaginative and fairly conventional. In other words, you talk about science and you talk about inertia. The great woe to science, the thing that holds science back more than anything else, is the same thing that holds culture back and politics back and new ideas back. It is the inertia of mediocrity. There is an inertia of mediocrity where you have to get all of the mediocre people and all of the mediocre ideas that are just sitting there entrenched into motion. And it's an extremely difficult thing to do because there's so many mediocre people in the world.
And you got to fight against that lack of passion too. That's for sure. All right. So they mapped the universe. And they found out that it's pretty weird. The new results come from the Kilo Degree Survey, or KIDS, which uses the European Southern Observatory's very large telescope to map the distribution of matter across our universe. So far, it has charted roughly 5% of the extragalactic sky from an analysis of 31 million galaxies that are as much as 10 billion light years away. Producing such detailed map allows scientists to examine the clumpiness of how galaxies are distributed throughout the cosmos. That allows researchers to build up a picture of all matter in the universe, of which some 90% is invisible, made up of dark matter and tenuous gas. It's all gas. Internet gas. Maybe it's internet gas. That in turn allows astronomers to watch the process that gradually make the universe less homogeneous or evenly distributed. Parts of the universe that have more than the usual mass attract matter from their areas around them, which makes them less similar to those other parts. The expansion of the universe counteracts that growth. Since both of the processes are driven by gravity, they can be used to test the standard model of cosmology and of the assumptions underlying our physics. The assumptions underlying our physics, which apparently there's a lot of assuming with physics. We know about assuming, since that allows us to predict the way that the variations in density would change as the universe aged. Those predictions can be put to the test by examining how homogeneous or differently clumped the universe really is. The new study found, however, that the predictions were wrong. The universe is almost 10% more 10% more homogeneous than our current understanding of physics suggests. Like other recent findings, such as the mysterious discrepancy in the expansion rate of the universe or Hubble constant, the data could be yet another crack in the standard model of physics and could require us to rethink our picture of the universe. So every time we take a better look at the universe, we have to rethink it. And that's good. That's good because it's probably much, much weirder than we think it is. We always had those thoughts when you were, I don't know, probably not everybody tripped on acid like I did, but I had those thoughts like, what if we're like inside of a dust molecule or something, man? Or
right, man,
on a puppy's nose or something, man. You never know. You never know. The question is whether these can be solved with a small adjustment or example with a somewhat more complex behavior of dark matter than the simple hypothesis of total inert cold dark matter, said Tilman Troster from the University of Edinburgh in a statement. But the change could be far more fundamental, suggesting, for instance, that Einstein's general theory of relativity could need replacing. Ooh.
Ouch. That seems pretty harsh because that's a pretty good theory, but damn, that is something.
Yeah, the researchers behind the new observations were keen to stress that their focus was on accurately taking the measurements rather than making any leaps about what they could tell us about the universe or what they could tell us about what we got wrong about it. As an, you mean like life all over the place, aliens visiting us and stuff, yeah, it's big. It's big. We know it's big. As an observing cosmologist, you try to remain impartial and make measurements as accurate as possible without theoretical prejudices. One thing is clear: we live in exciting times. Astronomers will need more data to be sure about their results, see if their results are correct. There is still a 1 in 1,000 chance that the results came about because they looked at an especially strange part of the universe. The extra data will arrive soon when the final Legacy Kids map is published. That will be 30% larger than the current one and will include all of the kids' observations, allowing for further study. Astronomers around the world are all launching new projects to map the distribution of matter and dark matter throughout the universe, which could shed light on current findings as well as potentially offering some explanation for them. Got to rethink the physics, man. I'm glad they're mapping the universe, and I thought dark matter was just a theory. I didn't know it was.
Well, Gary, I mean, the ExoZone itself, if you recall, has already addressed this dark matter situation. Really, from what show we did earlier, it turns out there is a physicist who is saying that there is no dark matter. Instead, information is the fifth form of matter.
That's right.
Do you remember when we did that?
Yeah. That
If
blew
you'll
my
let
mind.
me see if I can share the
Yeah.
screen here, because I went ahead and pulled it up when I saw you were talking about dark matter, because we had talked about this, and I found this absolutely fascinating. There is no dark matter. Instead, information has mass, a physicist says. Now, now talk about revising your view of reality. Researchers have been trying for over 60 years to detect dark matter. There are many theories about it, but none are supported by evidence. The mass energy information equivalence principle combines several theories to offer an alternative to dark matter. And it turns out that basically the entirety of the universe contains information, and information has mass. They have actually been able to measure the quantity of information according to this physicist. It's fascinating. Information, once created, has finite and quantifiable mass. It so far applies only to digital systems, but could very well apply to analog and biological ones too, and even quantum or relativistic moving systems. Relativity and quantum mechanics are possible future directions of the mass energy information equivalence principle. Because you've got to wonder, I think about shit like this, and I'm not stoned or drunk. I just lie awake at night trying to get to sleep, and weird thoughts come to me. And I've wondered, how much does a thought weigh? How much does a dream weigh? What form do these things exist in? Are they completely without any kind of substance? And where the hell do they come from? And why can I think them? And why do I dream them? You see what I'm saying? Or is that just too weird?
No. It's if information has mass, then oh shit, and then, well, where's that information coming from? Is the information coming from a conscious mind, or is it just information?
I know it's weird. Look at this. The fifth state of matter. To measure the mass of digital information, you start with an empty data storage device. Next, you measure its total mass with a highly sensitive measuring apparatus. Then you fill it and determine its mass. Next, you erase one file and evaluate it again. The trouble is, the ultra-accurate mass measurement device the paper describes does not exist yet. This would be an interferometer, something similar to LIGO, or perhaps an ultra-sensitive weighing machine akin to a kibble balance. And this guy is trying to get funding to design a device that could measure this kind of thing. But in what form do thoughts exist? It's so weird to think about it, Gary, that I am thinking these thoughts and uttering them on the fly. Where do they come from? In what state do they exist, and whence do they go once they've been expressed? It's a strange thing. Thought itself is a peculiar thing, Gary.
Your brain would store all thought. Now, I know what you're saying in the chat right now. Yes, I know how much a thought weighs too. Between 90 and 125 pounds, and they wear little anime masks, and they end up on Twitch. But we're talking about
thoughts are good.
Yeah. So I think it stays in your mind, but maybe your mind stores it, but then maybe there's excess that goes somewhere else, or maybe there's a duplicate that goes somewhere else. That's weird. And it's just constantly.
I don't know, man. I personally, I think that our brains do not generate thoughts. Our brains are receivers like radios.
Yeah.
That's what I think, because how do you explain kids that are born being able to play the piano?
Oh, I was just going to somebody who gets into an accident and they can speak Mandarin, or they can, they can play the piano.
Exactly.
How do you explain
exactly
the kid geniuses that, there's a couple out there right now. There's a guy, I forgot the kid's name, who's probably, if he grows up, could take over the world. Yeah, there has to be something, it's what was it? The record. I forgot what it's called. The
Akashic record.
The Akashic record. Yeah. There has to be. So, okay. If you want to think of it scientifically, so that kid was born and maybe it was we'll go kind of grow. Well, say it's a natural birth, and through the natural birth, something happened to his head that squeezed his brain just right, that connected the two right things to make him know how to play, he or she how to play the piano perfectly like damn near from birth. Or you get into an accident and your brain gets injured just in the right way to where you can speak Mandarin. I don't think it's as simple as that. I think it knocks something loose maybe, or it dials something in.
Yeah.
I think
it retunes your brain.
Yeah. Because there is no but that is bizarre. And there's the weirder stuff where kids remember past lives and stuff. That's a whole show for another day. But that is bizarre, and there is no explanation for that. And it's just something we accept, and we've all known forever that people either because playing the piano is not easy. Obviously, it's something that people who take lessons for and still can't learn, and yet these kids are born being able to do it just without reading music, without hearing music. That makes no sense to me. Other than
can speak a language they've never spoken after an accident. It's bizarre.
A football player got a head injury and he woke up from his coma speaking Spanish.
You see
the other day. Yeah.
That is bizarre and fascinating. And as far as the dark matter goes, let me get here. It says, so what's the connection to dark matter? Vopson says MP Go published an article in 2008 in which he worked out the number of bits of information that the visible universe would contain to make up all the missing dark matter. It appears that my estimates of information bit content of the universe are very close to his estimates. So these anomalies regarding the mass of the universe and so on and so forth really don't work with this idea of dark matter, but might work with this theory. And it's interesting that in the article, that's what made me kind of remember it, the dark matter connection, and them saying, well, there's something here that we're going to have to revise our paradigm. Well, if there's a fifth form of matter called information, that might do it.
It might. That's bizarre. Here's that. Hang on. Keep that thing there. I'm just going to share this.
Sure.
Boy wakes up from coma speaking fluent Spanish. So he got a football injury and he could still speak it. He's still recovering from the coma. I won't play the whole video, but he still speaks Spanish, and he's never knew a word of it before. And was back in 2016. There's another guy who got in an accident, could speak, Mandarin, and look that stuff up. It's bizarre. It is absolutely bizarre.
It's incredible. I really do believe, I have this thought, because I don't look at these anomalies and just shrug and say, imagine a thing like that. Fuck no. I think about these things. Any kind of anomaly needs to be explained. Your theory needs to account for them. Just ignoring them and putting your fingers in your ears and going la 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 means you're a shit scientist. You should quit.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything that doesn't comply with your theory says that probably your goddamn theory is wrong if that thing is a fact. Straight up. Period. I'm sorry. And they love to ignore this kind of stuff. So it says to me that the brain is tuning in on certain pieces. Well, it would fit in with this idea. If the fifth state of matter is information, and information surrounds us, and they've called it the Akashic record. They call it the self in Vedanta, which is the consciousness of existence. However you want to call it. That makes sense. If your brain is a receiver, it gets damaged or reshaped or reconfigured, and all of a sudden it's tuned to a station in Tijuana, and you're speaking perfect Spanish, well, you know what? That makes sense.
Yep. It does. It most definitely does. You know what I forgot to do in the beginning? My preamble, because it's been so long since we've done the ExoZone, that the ExoZone is not pop culture. We don't cover pop culture here. We talk about High Strangeness, the weird, UFOs, Bigfoot, everything. The conspiracies, all kinds of stuff. We don't present anything as fact. We just talk about ideas. And some people aren't into this stuff, and that's fine. The pop culture content will return, but we like to do this once a week because it's fun. And it's, taking a break from the culture war. Illuminati for $50 says, "Hail, Gary and Dooomcock, ExoZone at night. One personal note, I'd just like to add that ever since I was kidnapped by aliens 16 years ago, I've been dying for some payback. And I just want you to know that I won't let you down." Illuminati don't. And they're not all good. That was that conversation that Jimmy Church was having that his whole logic was, if they were bad, they would have killed us already. I'm like, no. I think as above, so below. So I think the universe is probably a lot more like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy than it is Star Trek. I think it's filled with selfish aliens and, super intelligent shades of the color blue, and evil aliens and good aliens and indifferent aliens, and they are factions, and they probably war against each other or plot against each other. I don't imagine that there's a bunch of advanced civilizations out there that are all just, have achieved ascension, as David Wilcock put it. I think there's civilizations out there that have risen to that, but then fell. I think, I think it's a lot like Earth. I think it's a lot. Now, it might not be humanoid. My kid was asking me, do you think like insects could evolve to, intelligent with consciousness? And I'm all, sure, absolutely. Why not?
They may already have it.
Yeah.
I mean, to some extent. I mean, they're not just little. It's fascinating. I just think it's interesting that it doesn't. I don't think that necessarily brain size or tiny brains or anything determines solely a creature's intelligence. Like a cat, for example. It's a very tiny brain, but I swear to God, my cats that I've had think and plot and know when they're guilty, and know when to try to cover up evidence. There's a lot of intelligence and dare I say, sentience in cats. Squirrels too. Bugs, man. Bugs fucking know when I'm stalking them. And they know, to hide, and they know, and you can say it's instinct. I don't know, man. There's a certain amount of, I don't know. I honestly think that this is stuff that they, all brains are receivers in my book, in my opinion.
No, I think we're proof. Our brains are pretty big, and we don't even use all of them. So, yeah. Michael Thibodeau for $13.99 Canadian. Holy hell! Just finished rewatching Battlestar Galactica, and I lie down for a night, and the ExoZone is back. I'm rolling sevens everywhere today. See, I love to hear that. Outstanding, man. And hail BSG, one of my favorite shows. Thank you, Illuminati, for the $50 super chat, but we're at Fear of FEMA for $5. Good evening or good morning, wherever you may be in this great land of ours. And good evening and good morning to you in this great land of ours, or planet. Break here. Thank you for the 2 super stickers, one for $5, one for $3. One's something playing a trumpet, and the other one is I never know if that's a dog or a cat. It's an animal being very happy. I think it's a dog. It's a dog. Yeah. Deef for 2 Canadian pesos. It's okay. I'm here. The stream can begin now. Okay. Thank God you're here. We were worried for a little bit there. Victor Dan Judgment Cock for $5 west of the Rockies. You're on the air. Victor Dan Judgment Cock. I love it.
Are you, sir, east of the Rockies or west of the Rockies? Where are you calling from, sir? And do you believe in the quickening?
Judgment God. Oh, that is funny. Albatross flight for $5. Dude, I read up on the Travis Walton story. I read up on the Travis Walton story every Halloween season. Yeah, it's good and creepy. It is very creepy. And if you ever see the guy at Contact in the Desert, go up and talk to him. He's cool. He's a cool dude. Since when has UFO photo manipulation been around? Forever. I saw a photo back in 1993 that wakes me up at night every now and then. My uncle denies that I saw it. Yeah, I don't. People fake shit all the time. And that's what sucks. And they do it for money, or they do it for kicks, and they do it for laughs. I mean, that's almost the human way. It has to be expected. But as every ufologist has said, as Dooomcock and I have said, if even 1% of them is real, it is the biggest story in the world. And I believe that I think it's somewhere like 5% of them, of the reports are real. So
Yeah,
at least
absolutely.
a blue book couldn't even excuse away a bunch of them, even when they were trying. Overlord.
Exactly. It's dude, it's exactly what I'm saying. If one is right, if one is real, then that shatters everything. What does that anomaly say about your worldview? You cannot simply just, oh, well, it was only one alien spacecraft. Well, that's all it takes, man. Oh, there was only this one picture of Bigfoot. Well, then Bigfoot fucking exists. Either that, or it's proof that reality is very malleable, and that observers can, using the universal consciousness, conjure up a UFO or conjure up a Bigfoot out of their own mind or their own consciousness or their own subconscious. It doesn't fucking matter. What matters is that the one instance is real. And what does that say about your cosmology? Because it says something about it. It might not say something about UFOs directly. It might not say something about Bigfoot, but it sure as hell says something about reality. That anomaly is everything, and you cannot dismiss it.
No, you cannot. Overlord VHS for $2. The Space Brother cults are annoying. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of irreversible damage to ufology. And the fact that a lot of these shows allow them to be there and give them center stage so much, it bugs me. Deef for 5 Canadian pesos. What if the aliens are actually from the ancient civilizations that existed prior to the Younger Dryas impact 12,000 years ago? The survivors? Maybe.
Possibly. Sure.
They went under. Listen, there is a lot of evidence that people went underground, and they dug quarter-mile, caverns with like stables underground. They carved it out of rock in Turkey, and they said it was because they were hiding from barbarians. Are you kidding me? That the fear that went into making something that big and expansive, and it's not there's thousands of cave structures like that were carved out of rock. We have no idea what's under the sand in Egypt. That culture has been around a long time. If you think about the Sphinx was buried up to its neck in sand, there is so much stuff we don't know, and that sand is relatively new, geologically speaking. There is a lot of mysteries we don't know, and what Dooomcock was talking about earlier. The archaeology is one of the worst at cock blocking any good idea because of nationalism with Egypt. Zayawas, until he got ripped out of power, like everything had to be Egyptian. And he bullshitted about the pyramids. He's hidden stuff. He got caught stealing stuff. He was corrupt, and he was just trying to keep his gig going. And Robert Schoch was there and proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that the erosion around the Sphinx is old. It's from when it rained, and it only rained regularly 20,000 years ago in that area of the world. So, well, 10 to 20,000 years ago. Look into Robert Schoch. He did a big, long interview on Joe Rogan. It's very good. What do you think of the discovery of the phosphine, the phosphus on Venus? I think it's fascinating, Robert Meza, for $5. The possible life or phosphus comes from microbes, right? Living microbes, they say. It
potentially, it could. It definitely could.
And it's pretty temperate up there in the clouds. There's areas in the clouds of Venus that are 72 degrees. Victor
Weird.
Judgment Cock for $5. I know, right? All of Secure Team's videos have been removed. He still has 2.6 million subscribers. Yeah, he removed all his videos. The only reason for him to do that, in my opinion, is he possibly had a breakup. The partner had access to his channel, and he wouldn't have to make another video. With 2.6 million subscribers, you could live off of your stuff for years without making new content. You know, and for him to remove that is weird.
Very weird.
Modalicious.
I'd love to interview him. We should get him on.
I'd love to.
He wouldn't come on, but we ought to try.
Yep. Blue Beam and HARP could false flag an alien invasion to push one of the world governments to combat the fake event. That may be what DOD dropped info. Yeah. Modalicious, I would believe that in normal times, but right now, right now, if there is no better time for Project Blue Beam than right now. And the fact that it hasn't been, they pulled the trigger on that. The Blue Beam thing, I don't know if I entirely believe anymore. Because obviously you just saw the reaction to people, to the UFOs. So you would have to fake an invasion somehow. And that would require a lot of special effects. It would require a lot to fake an invasion. I mean, it's not like the War of the Worlds. We can't just run a radio show. You're going to have to show it. People are going to have to see it. They're going to have cell phones now. It's harder to pull off. Not impossible.
Very hard.
But hard. Basil, Pumpkin Seagull for 2 Canadian pesos. Suspect Sky is better than Secure Team 10. I will check it out.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them. Who?
Yeah, Suspect Sky, he says. It's all one word. Suspect Sky. I'll check it out.
Okay.
Pualo 30 for 5 Canadian pesos. Sasquatch is most likely an undiscovered hominid species. I mean, you know, there's large parts. I've talked about this before. Northern California, there's a large swaths of land that people haven't set foot on ever. It's huge. It's dense, and maybe I go like I said, I go back and forth with Bigfoot. I'd like him to be real. Hail the return of the ExoZone. Would love an ancient civilizations episode. Eye of the Sahara could be Atlantis if you considered Randall Carlson's work. We'll do a whole episode on that. I can probably go with most of it off the top of my head because I've watched so much, but I'll send Dooomcock a couple of things, and I know you've watched a bunch of it too, but we could do an entire episode on I think the most plausible theory in all of paranormal and ghosts and UFOs and everything. I think because of the work of Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock and others, and scientists starting to come on board on this stuff, and it's becoming clearer and clearer every day that there was a civilization that we have completely forgotten about that was probably pretty advanced. How advanced? I don't know. I kind of think it's and when pressed, Graham Hancock has only answered this question that I know of a couple of times, but he said they were probably as advanced as, say, the Romans were, but like thousands of years before the Romans, thousands and thousands. Now, as far as airships and stuff, they definitely had a different type of technology. They were a little more in tune with Earth, and they can do things like make rock malleable somehow by melting it or adding a chemical to it or something. And that's why in certain parts of the world, you see those strange walls where the rocks are huge. They look cut out, but they also look like marshmallows, right? Like they were like it was cement of some kind, and they're perfectly fit together, and they've survived earthquakes, and it's bizarre. And there's a bunch of it in South America, but they're all over the polygonal walls. They're everywhere. They found some in Russia, and Siberia, huge ones. So it's bizarre. It's bizarre.
It is. There's so much, Gary. I mean, look, there's batteries that worked. There's that ancient computer that they found. Remember that?
Yep.
And of course, all the amazing structures like Stonehenge, like the pyramids, like Coral Castle. One guy made that entire amazing Coral Castle. How the hell do you manage to get those rocks up there? I think he found some kind of ancient technology or something, because how were those things built? The usual thing about levers and pulleys and slaves and everything, I just don't buy. There's a lot of weird constructions that make no damn sense at all, in my opinion.
Pumapunku, up in Bolivia, by Lake Titicaca. That place is bizarre, and there's only a few stones left, but they are cut so precisely. And this was a culture that was cutting things with chicken bones. Chicken bones.
Yes, or so they'd have us believe. Listen, the universe is much weirder than we know.
Yep. I think most aliens are like trailing parents. We were just run off middle M class planet, a middle M class planet, and they stop by time to time to check in on our progress. Maybe, yeah. I don't think we're from here. I think there's a little bit of evidence to that. Who brought this up? I can't remember who brought it up. Back problems and cancer, and there's certain things that happen to us that don't happen to other species. Not cancer wasn't one, but we're not really acclimated to this planet. I mean, we don't have fur, yet we need fur to keep warm. Everything else is developed with its environment, and we haven't really done that. So there are some very weird things about us, period. That I'll look up the show. That I forgot who was talking about it, but they brought up some interesting points, I thought. But the back problem one was weird, and he brought up the gravity, and it was interesting. Wes Moody Webcast for $2. Welcome back, ExoZone. Thank you, Wes Moody. It's good to see
Hail,
you.
Wes.
Doyle Hargrave for $5. I'm trying to read this there. I'm friends with John Lear on Facebook. He is still alive and probably will come on the show. He's open to shows, but he's wheelchair bound and bad health, lives in Vegas. Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was still around. So he's still around. Doyle. Yeah, hit me up. I'll talk to freaking John Lear. Hell yeah. We'll talk to John Lear, right?
Hell yes. Love to.
Southeastern Kaiju for $2. Fist bump. Hell yeah. Basil, the Pump and Seagull for 2 Canadian pesos. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. Believe it or not.
Wow. I never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. What a great song.
I love that show, man. Robert
Clark. A lot of fun.
I love ExoZone, says Tinfoil Hats for 5 Canadian pesos. Well, somebody named Tinfoil Hats better love ExoZone, or we're not doing our job. Thanks. I appreciate it. Jordy Jr. for $5.99. Nerdrotic and Dooomcock. Thoughts on Foo Fighters pilot saw during WW2. Now that the Tic Tac ship, if it's multiple alien races, not one has shown aggression. They haven't yet, but it's not aggression that I'm worried about. It's indifference. So there's good, there's bad, and there's indifferent. And I think whoever took Travis Walton feels like they can just pluck us up and do things to us and put us back. That's not good. So that's
well, no, it's not good, man. But honestly, any spacefarer, all spacefaring races, in my opinion, probably evolved out of predatory species, because to have that quest for exploration, for that drive to change your world, to develop technologies, you've got to be kind of a aggressive, predatory, colonializing species. However, once you get out into space, and you have the ability to travel between, star systems and galaxies, I mean, all of a sudden, hostility and warfare and stuff are almost obsolete, because the number of resources available to you would be vast.
Yep.
Absolutely vast. And resource shortage is largely one of the causes of war. We need territory, we need Lebensraum, we need, water, air, we need food. Well, if all that shit is readily available, because it's a vast, vast universe and you can travel at unimaginable speeds or warps or whatever, it's kind of almost more trouble than it's worth to get involved in any kind of conflicts with your neighbors, or shit. There's plenty to go around, I would imagine. So I think that the so-called evil aliens or good aliens or whatever, they're probably just kind of detached, unemotional, and somewhat ruthless. I just, you said that maybe they wage war against each other. Boy, I just don't know that there would be much profit in that. What do you think?
I don't know. There's so many factors. You could have technology taken over by a race that wasn't as evolved spiritually or mentally. You could have a hive mind out there that just are, that's what,
like the Borg.
Yeah. I mean, you could have what I think the biggest danger is the indifference, is they don't think much of us. So it wouldn't be totally conquering us, but it's plucking some of us and just they disappear because they have. I think one of the theories brought up, not saying I believe this is one of the theories brought up, is one of the races has genetically fucked with themselves so much that they can't procreate anymore. So they send the Greys. They created the Greys to come and pluck are either animals or this is what's behind cattle mutilation, because a lot of times the reproductive organs are missing, and with a lot of abduction cases, they talk about messing with reproductive organs and being probed and stuff. So that's one of the theories. I'm not saying I believe it. I don't know, but it could be one of the things. You don't know. It's such a big universe, obviously, that I think all things are possible. There could be a race out there that's just bad. But you're right. I think if you're evolved and if you can, travel interstellar space, you could probably replicate food and, you wouldn't need that much. And
all those resources that would be available to you on asteroids, on other planets. God, it's kind of mind-boggling, I guess maybe the big challenge would be just finding them.
Yeah. One of the things we need to look into next episode is this rush to the moon that I didn't hear about, that nobody heard about, that people want to all the big, Russia, China we want to get to the moon and start mining it now all of a sudden. Like after all these years, we want to start going back there. Why?
Interesting.
Just mine it. I think one of the theories was that some of our mineral deposits will be depleted in 15 years. I find that hard to believe. We haven't dug up the entire planet, and there's probably enough deposits to last us 1,000 years. So I don't know about that. Getting to the moon is weird. We've talked about it before. Everything. I was talking about it to my son. We were watching when there was a bunch of smoke here from the fires, and you could see the sun, and it was just this orange dot, and you saw like how big it looks, right? Without the brightness to it, it just looks like the moon. And it made me think, I'm like, oh yeah, so the moon is exactly as big as the sun from our perspective. That's weird.
Yeah.
What are the fucking chances of that? And it's perfect.
Well, it's almost like they placed the moon there to have perfect eclipses with the sun, right?
Yeah, and it's also perfectly placed for our gravity. Yes, it's moving away a little bit, but it's a bizarre thing, our moon, and scientists have said that it shouldn't exist. There's no way it should exist at that size, and where its placement is, it's almost too perfect.
Really weird.
The Good Tom King for $2. What do you think of the whistleblower Bob Lazar? I find him credible.
Yeah.
WB ExoZone play theme from Midnight Express. Bum, 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 I know fucking that theme is ingrained in my head. If I hear that theme, it reminds me of the mid-90s on a summer night, smoking a cigarettes back when I smoked cigarettes, and sitting in my backyard here in Escondido. I'm in this little house on Flower Street. I used to live on Flower Street. It was the first house I rented, and it was a shitty house and had a mold inside, and I was sneezing all the time, and the landlord was crazy, and she would visit fucking all hours of the day. But it was a good summer because I was listening to Art Bell.
Great stuff.
God damn, that landlord would come over at 10:30 at night to get like, what are you doing, you crazy old lady?
Wow.
You know what?
She wanted some of that action.
He did come over a lot. That's why I had long hair too. I had long hair almost to my booty. Doc Val, $5. Yeah. It was the 90s. It's culture creation and social engineering. It is everything that's going on right now. The stuff we can't talk about, the real interesting stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. We are being socially engineered, and our overlords and our masters are controlling what we say now. And that really bugs me on certain aspects, because that's what YouTube was based on, people being real. So now we're going to have to develop a YouTube code speak to get around the algorithm, and that's kind of a bummer. I wouldn't be surprised if this stream got ghosted. I haven't been paying attention, but Felipe Abrigo for 2,500 Chilean pesos. Hi, Lords. I just wonder, if they are so evolved, how the hell are they so clumsy to crash in an ape-populated planet? Aren't they good pilots? Well, in some cases, they might not be piloting their ship. And there's a thing called lightning. And they were also, the night of the crash on White Sands, they were experimenting with microwaves that very night. So that could have messed up their instruments. They weren't expecting it,
Yeah, no, all sorts of weird events could happen. I mean, shit, you could also have a craft that purposely has crashed, like an old model that they wanted to alert the government to their presence and see what they do. That might have set up negotiations for the aforementioned landing. That was it Eisenhower, or was it somebody else where they landed at that three UFOs came and one of them landed at the base, and that's where they allegedly signed the accord where exchange of alien technology for the right to abduct our people.
Yeah, that was Eisenhower. That was where he disappeared for a little while from Palm Springs. He was golfing and went on a little trip to Edwards Air Force Base, and there was a little treaty supposedly. So that was Eisenhower. Look into Lieutenant Hout's deathbed confession, Final Death Star for $2. I've seen it. Final Death Star. We could do a whole show on that. Of course, it's been debunked, but they always aren't they? Final Death Star, they just happen to get debunked. And look into again what they did to Bob Lazar's records, and you imagine that they could probably do that to somebody who's been in the military for that long. And look at Lee Corso, or sorry, not Lee Corso, fucking Lee Corso, it's fucking college football. Philip Corso, Philip Corso's book, The Day After Roswell. That thing's fascinating, man. And they try to debunk him, and these got pictures standing right next to General Trudeau and freaking Eisenhower and they're trying to discredit this dude. It's like, stop. Basil the Pumpkin Seagull says DC and Gary are the yin and are like yin and yang. This is for two Canadians.
I prefer yang and yang, but never mind.
We got a few more here we got to get through, and then we're going to call it a night, ladies and gentlemen. We got to let Dooomcock get to bed. Me too. I got work to do. I got to record.
Oh man,
super chat score. I was recording my super chat square up throughout the day, and I got to finish it up and watch fucking Star Trek Discovery premiere on CBS, which is starting in like a minute, but I've got a DVR, so I've seen the stupid fucking episode anyway.
Oh yeah, they're just gonna cut it a little bit, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're just cutting a few minutes off it. Hail ExoZone. X Special Forces isn't classified, but often deal with many classified matters. Government doublespeak, says Shiva Vareen for $4.99. Yep. We deal with a lot of that in ufology. The hieroglyphics were the intergalactic equivalent to stand clear 50 feet, says Tracy Wilborn at Rendlesham. It's like, yeah, do not touch this part of the ship. Didn't you watch Last Mimsy? It's us from the future. Modalicious for $2. Hey, that's one of the theories from Rendlesham. That is. The Year of Disclosure, a long time coming, says Solsaw for $19.99. Yes, it is a long time coming. It's good that it's here. And I mean, this is just a personal thing. I just want more information. I want more. You didn't give me enough. I need more. Concentration camp in Brisbane, Australia. Yeah, my heart goes out to everyone in Australia who was locked down like a mofo. Oh, it's terrible there. For $7.99. Hail Dooomcock, hail Nerdrotic, and hail and welcome back to the ExoZone. Just wanted to confirm what alternatives to Patreon that both of you use. I use memberships. Memberships are my alternative to Patreon. I've got to do some work on Patreon before I probably shut it down, because with the move, my life is just become way too busy. I'm working on my studio all day, all day. I was working on my studio. I'll show you guys a picture of it in a second. But and I still have to unpack a house, and then we still have to sell a house. So yeah, I use memberships. What do you use alternative to Patreon, Doomcock?
I've got a subscribestar.com/Doomcock, and also channel memberships on YouTube. I've got a bunch of channel members, and I do exclusive live streams with you guys. I do exclusive videos, and Arch Villains. I do personal live streams with them, and they get to come and actually talk and be on camera and everything. It's real cool.
Yeah. Yep. I do member streams, and there will be more once we get settled. I'm still training up. Lady Greymaster has been doing a great job helping me out. I'd be lost without her. And Mrs. Nerdrotic has been helping out too quite a bit. So thanks to both of those ladies. Alfred McKay for $1.99 Canadian gives a thumbs up. Howlin' Monkey Wrench for $10, and thank you, Alfred McKay. Unfortunately, UFOs have been used as a cover for things for so long. Real disclosure may go unnoticed. The real story about cattle mutilations is one example. The truth is scarier than UFOs. But you don't tell us the truth that it's the government testing the not the fatty tissue, but thinner tissue that's more susceptible to radiation because of all of the nuclear tests they did in the West, and there's still a bunch of radiation out here. That's the best theory I've heard for cattle mutilation that could be ours, is that they are cutting out all the buttholes and lips and stuff, because that's where you can test how much damage the radiation is still doing.
Fascinating.
Yeah. My Lord and Gary, I live in Peru, South America, and the last couple of weeks I have had some weird dreams. According to 40K lore, this anomaly is the manifestation of our stressed consciousness. Diego Flores for 10 Chilean pesos. Yes, when you are in stress, there are certain dreams you will have, like dreams of water rising, floods, volcanic stuff. Yeah, not everybody, by the way. But when you're under stress, you have bad dreams. Absolutely. And collectively, we're all under a lot of stress. Jake D for $5. Welcome back, ExoZone. What's up, Jake D? Excited to have the show back again. Thank you both for the chat and the chat. And thank you, Jake D, for always supporting. I appreciate you. Got a few more here. Bill Atwood for $5. Most of those bird species are aerial insectivores. Reportedly, cold snaps cause death of insects. No bugs to eat. Birds die. That sounds logical to me. Declan, but it's in one spot. I mean, if it was happening everywhere, but it's just in one spot. I have horrible feeling that aliens won't contact us because Earth Uncensored is the best program in the galaxy, and they don't want to influence us. Declan Lyons for $5.
That's right. They don't want to screw up the reality show.
I could believe that. Testing Coof Vax, it failed. Says lost hope for $2 Australian. I can't imagine it would. Well, I don't know. You never know, though. As far, I can't get in that one. I'm not big on. I don't want to be the first to take that vaccine. I'll just say that. Sam Whiskey for $3.
No.
Yeah. No. There was a story we didn't get to about. Was it?
I know, man. We didn't get to that, but that was an awful story. I guess we can do it next time. But
yeah,
that was a messed up story, dude.
Yeah, they want to put some kind of freaking probe in you for a DARPA funded implantable biochip to detect the coof could hit markets by 2021. Every conspiracy theorist is saying they're using this to put a chip into us, and here DARPA fucking DARPA offers a chip. I mean, 20 has been the best year for conspiracy theories.
Oh man, I read that. I was just like, fuck that. No, thank you. You know what? I'll detect the coof when I get sick. And if I'm not sick, I figure I don't have it or had it and it was no big deal. But I don't really need that. And it also had like some kind of remote control aspect to it too. Which fuck that. No.
Please. No fucking way. That's my answer to that. Sam Whiskey, thanks for the cupper for $3.99. I appreciate you. Mr. E's Absurdities and Atrocities for $5. I live in Albuquerque. Hey, so does my sister. The bird deaths are being underreported. Kirkland has seen at least hundreds and supposedly more near Dulce.
Oh man.
Not the Dulce base. Dulce.
Oh shit.
Crazy Cat Guy for $5. Hey, Gary and Dooomcock. Great to have the ExoZone back on the interwebs. Looking forward to the future. Woo woo. LOL. And love the woo woo. Crazy Cat Guy. Thanks for $5. AJ1218 for $5. This is my first ExoZone. As a kid in his early 30s, where do I start? It says early 30s. I'm like, how are you kid? You grew up in the 30s, but I get it. And what started you both on your paranormal journey? Love you both. Cheers, everyone. Well, I'll let you go. What started you on your paranormal journey, Dooomcock?
Finding a book called Flying Saucers Serious Business by Frank Edwards in my my granddad's bookstore.
There you go. Mine was, I'm going to think back on this. It was Charles Berlitz's The Bermuda Triangle. And that led me on a paranormal journey and watching In Search Of. Both of those things got me into it. So, but I would, as far as UFOs, Above Top Secret, start with that. That is a classic, absolute classic UFO book. It's so good by Timothy.
I have it on my shelf.
Yes,
absolutely. Timothy Good, right?
Yep, Timothy Good. Geck 812 for $5 Australian. Coming out of solar minimum. That's true for 11-year cycle, which affects Earth's magnetic field and upper atmosphere temp, cause birds' deaths. mass whale beaching, etc. Yes, there was a mass whale beaching as well. You're right. And yeah, it could be just magnetic. It could. Gary, we discussed science, religion on member chat. Drake is 6 for $2. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And we discuss any on the member chats. They're very free flow. You guys can talk about whatever you want. That is your time with me, and we'll talk about anything. So, my lords, no coincidence. Post times that for different networks, science, discovery, sci-fi, history had 4 new shows covering same content in 2020. Unidentified, Project Blue Book, Black Files, and Contact CIA via third-rate channels like Destination America. Mexican Iron Man for $50. You are absolutely correct. And I do believe 2 of those 4 shows were funded by To the Stars Academy. Tom DeLonge. Apophis the Destroyer, or Apophis the Destroyer for $5. Sorry about that. Hell, glad to see ExoZone has returned full time. That being said, does any of this exist outside of my mind? No, not really. Not really. John,
does anything exist out of our minds? I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Looking for an alien-based death metal band, check out Blood Incarnation, specifically their new album, Hidden History of the Human Race. I did not know, John Ochiltree, for $4.99, that there was a very specific death metal band that specifically talks about aliens. That's really specific and cool. Take my money, nerds, says Levi Hubner for $5. Thank you, Levi. I appreciate it. YouTube will take 30% too. Robert Lyle for $5. I love discussing this in a public forum. Thank you both for upholding true intelligent curiosities like these. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you, Robert. Apophis the Destroyer for $5. Great Pyramid of Giza. Latitude is 29.9792458 north degrees. Speed of light is exactly the same in meters seconds. Thoughts? No fucking way. Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't either. That's great.
Holy shit. That would be weird. If I'm not saying I don't believe you, but I'm going to double check that. If that's true, that my mind will be blown.
Yes.
Have you looked into the RH blood types? No, Doc Valiant for $5. Should we?
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I don't either. Maybe it's hybrid kids or something. Have you heard of the Cuban pyramids? They're 600 feet underwater, which makes them close to 50,000 years old. Can I get a shout out for my channel? YetiCast, you get a shout out. Go check out YetiCast and thank you for the $6.99 Canadian. And yes, I've heard of the Canadian pyramids. They just kind of went out of, they supposedly mapped them, and they're way down there, and they're kind of hard to get to, and they're outside the waters of Cuba. So making it even more hard. That would be interesting. I recommend the podcast of Lex Fridman with Stephen Wolfram. Very relevant with what you're talking about and now about reality and communication with aliens. Oh, cool. Thanks, Mark Phoenix, for 5 rubles. I will check it out. Levi Hubner for $5. Yep, we're being recorded. Ignore morons. Oppress the thinkers. Yes. 3 more to go. Mr. E's Absurdities and Atrocities for $2. You read my previous super chat? Think I missed it. I will check. I will go back and check. Sorry about that if I missed it, but I will go back up and check. Phantom Boomer for $5. Test super chat and welcome back to Escondido. Thank you, Phantom Boomer. And I love being back. You know what I love about it? I don't have to bundle up to go outside in the middle of summer. That I don't miss that shit at all. And I also don't miss avoiding the poop. So I can't use the last chat for some reason. I'm going to scroll up. What's up, Problem Being? I see you in there. Okay. Someone trying to mold us into Eloy. Maybe Gek 182. All right. So Mr. E's Absurdities. Give me just a second, Dooomcock. We're almost done.
Sure.
I live in Albuquerque. I read that one. Let me see if there's one before that. Doom, 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 doom. I'm not seeing it. There was 2. Was there more than 2 Mr. E's Absurdities? Sometimes here, I'm going to have to refresh. Give me a moment.
Sometimes refreshing helps.
Yeah, it does. Sorry, folks. Be right with you. Nope, I'm not seeing one, sir. So there was only 2.
Maybe one didn't go through.
Yeah, maybe it didn't. Sorry about that. If it didn't, hope you didn't get charged for it. We're going to call it a night, folks. And if I'm going to, Lady Gravemaster will comb the super chats. And if I missed one, it'll be in my square up tonight. Dooomcock, please plug your wonderful channels.
I'm almost at 210,000 subscribers, Gary.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. I'm like, let me see how many far I am away. My channel is Overlord DVD on YouTube, and I also have the HarveyZone, where I try to remember to post my live streams after I've done with them. I got to get better on that. I wish I need a Lady Gravemaster to help me or something like that. I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. But yes, theoretically, that's where live streams go. Also have patreon.com/Dooomcock, subscribestar.com/Dooomcock, and consider joining my channel membership as well. Thank you, Gary. This was a lot of fun. It's great to be back.
Dude, it was
and I've got 209,524, so I'm only 476 away.
Yeah,
from 210.
If any of you out there you probably are, but if you haven't subscribed to Dooomcock, go give him a sub. Get him past 210,000.
Yes.
And check out the HarveyZone as well. Those will be linked in the description once I fix that. I was kind of hurrying up, but those will be linked in the description when we are done. So you can just click easily. And this is where Nerdrotic Live is where the ExoZone will live. So this will stay up as long as YouTube wants to keep it up. Well, it's fine with me. You always got to keep shit up. You know what I'm saying? So check out my other channel, Nerdrotic, if you like. I'm kind of complaining a lot about Hollywood in general. And if I have time, I have a video to make. Hopefully I can get it out in time. If not, then oh well. I have a lot of live streaming to do, and I'm probably going to live stream in a little bit. Just talk if I have time. God, I might not have time, but yeah, I'll probably go on and talk about Star Trek Discovery for like a half an hour tonight, a little bit, just to laugh at it, because I can't wait for those ratings, dude. I can't wait for those ratings.
Me either, man. I really can't. And actually, tomorrow I am releasing I pulled all of my Star Trek Discovery videos off of YouTube. Way back when they changed their rules and got all weird. So I've got a revised and revamped review that will be posted tomorrow of episode 1.
Awesome. I forgot, what was episode 1 called? Is it the Battle of Barnard?
It's the Vulcan Hello.
Vulcan Hello. That's right. Oh, dude.
And I'm going to destroy it. I've already done it. It's going to be 23 minutes. So it's I've got a lot to say about that shit.
Good. Kill it. All right. We're going to call it. Thanks, Eric K. Thanks, Stellar Heather. Thanks, Cardinal Sin, and all the Modrotics out there. Thanks for all the super chats. I appreciate you. What's up, Quarter Black? How's it going, dude? How's it going? Quarter
Hail.
Black. And
Quarter Black. Yeah, yes.
Final Death Star for $2.99. Ever studied the Black Eyed Children stories? I have a little bit. I always thought that was just kind of urban legend, but it's good and creepy, so it's worth talking about. It's really worth talking about.
It really is.
And take care,
creepy story.
And Lori Wilson, and thanks, Final Death Star. I know you're into the woo woo, and we appreciate you for that. So appreciate you all. Have a good night, and not all who wander are lost.